Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another fabulous episode of the Suzette Speaks Show. I am Suzette Speaks, a TV host and attorney out of Miami, Florida, and I have one very important question to ask you today. Are you willing to build the house, or do you already want your house ready made? Now, I'll ask you that question in reference to dating and marriage. I have a very special guest with me tonight. His name is Harrison Family Values. He's a YouTuber, and he talks a lot about relationships. And the question that we want to ask you tonight is, are your dating standards keeping you single? Well, there's a lot of debate around dating, relationships, and marriage. So I hope you will pull up a chair and come and enjoy this conversation. I am one who shies away oftentimes from dating and relationship talks because I am yet single. However, I like to participate in these conversations from a point of view of learning and of listening. And just as I was getting ready to come on tonight, shout out to everyone in the chat. Drop a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. I was just listening to one of my favorite YouTubers, Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher. I don't know if you guys have heard of him, but he does a podcast on Thursdays that I listen to usually on Saturdays while I'm getting ready for my show on Saturdays. But tonight, while I was getting ready, I had the privilege of just tuning in and listening to something he just said that provided a little bit of inspiration. And I said, okay, I'm going to share it. Well, Dr. Thomas is a world-renowned speaker, PhD. He has a men's conference coming up actually Saturday. I was hoping to be able to go there, but things didn't align. Long story. Anyway, he was talking about his daughter who is mid-20s, and has just completed her master's. And of course, like any good father, he's thinking about what advice he should be giving her as far as dating. And in his words, and I'll paraphrase, you guys can go back and listen to the episode he just did on I think it's called the Secrets to Success podcast. He mentioned, I tell my daughter, I'm paraphrasing here, I'm not telling you to lower your standards, but there are so many ways and so many different types of, what should I say? And I don't want to put words in his mouth, but his basic sentiment was, you need good quality in a person, and not necessarily that he has his own house already, or that he has his own cars, or has his own success yet. And he was just giving an example of two folks that are, I think, in his circle. I don't know if you guys know Toby. I don't want to say his last name wrong. In Weiwei. I don't want to say it's a rapper. I don't want to say it wrong. Okay. Toby and his wife Fat. And when they met, Toby was on the rough side of the mountain, let's say. He did not have his act together yet. He was planning. He was growing. He was a visionary. And he was working on a music career. And Fat was just giving her feedback as to, what she saw in him to still draw her towards him and give him a chance, even though he was on the come up. So again, they're living great now. They have 3 beautiful kids. He is a, again, world-class performer, rapper, entertainer. But when she met him, she was talking about how she's often, had to make sure he was okay, literally in terms of his physical space. If his parents weren't going to rock with him because he had this musical dream, and he had to be, careful about, their good graces and where he could live while he was making this musical career come to fruition. She believed in him enough that she was like, you know what, you can stay with me. If this is not yet, manifest, but I can see it happening. I know where you're going. I believe in you. And I want to ask you tonight, both from a male and a female perspective, and I'm going to drop the link a little bit later. What do you guys think? Are we expecting to have a fully built house, or is that what you want as a metaphor, so to speak, when you are entering the dating market? Are you looking for a man with ready-made income, ready-made lifestyle? Let's also talk about ready-made values while we're at it. How about that? Or are you looking for someone that you can work with, help develop, help grow? And are you a person that believes that if you do have dating standards, you should stick to them. You should stick to the highest standards that you were given, that you believe you deserve as you mature. I'm speaking from a woman's perspective, y'all, but for my men, do you believe you should keep your standards high? And again, I know this varies from age and stage of life. Or are you willing to compromise? It's a very big question right now with the dating world going on the way it is, with so many different, I guess, value systems is how I would characterize it. Some people are on the same page with their values, others are not. But one thing I think is certain is that there are people seeking relationships and can't find them. Can't find the right person. I don't know. The dating market is such a what should I say? A cruel game, many people would say. But are we realistic about who's available to us and who would make a good match for us? And I left a survey in my community tab asking folks, what would you do seeking someone for marriage? Now, we're not talking about dating as the round robin, right? Going around the escalator, come up, go down, go. No, I'm talking about real, actual expectations of long-term relationships. Are you of the mindset that if you have a standard, if you have an expectation of the type of man or type of woman that you desire, that when dating, because I have friends like this. I have a homegirl who's like, she's probably about 35, 36. She will not date a man that she is not physically attracted to. He got to be fine, y'all. Come on, hit the like button. I got a special guest, Harrison Family Values, I'll be bringing on momentarily, but get the likes up so I can welcome him. As I said, I have friends in real life. Yeah, I do have friends in real life. But that won't, I try to encourage them. I'm like, doll, you are so cute. You are skinny mini. You are fly. This is your time to catch. Let's go. But the thought process is, why would I talk to this person? Why would I go there? Why would I go here? This is not the person that I'm attracted to. I hear that all the time. Are we creating unrealistic expectations for the needs we will likely have for marriage? Do we want what we want, and should we stick to it? Or are our dating standards keeping us single? Y'all, we ready to talk about this? Hit the like button as you come in. I'm going to look at the survey real quick and then bring up my guest. But first, y'all got to get the likes up, please. And thank you. Appreciate you watching. You guys know I like to switch up my topics. And tonight we are going into dating, relationships, and marriage. And we are going to dive a little deeper. Hopefully this conversation will bring you some value in terms of your own mindset. Let's set our intention. How are you approaching the dating market? Are you in it to win it in terms of, okay, I just take it as it comes? Or have you set a very high bar for your future mate? And is it working? Have you been able to find that bar? And I asked my speakers, my community here on YouTube, what they thought. Let me see what they had to say. So 30 votes so far. Just put it up about an hour ago. Welcome, guys. East Coast time is about 7:30. Welcome, welcome, welcome. SuzetteSpeaks here. Excited to get into this topic. Are our dating standards keeping us single? With special guest, Harrison Family Values, waiting in the wings. But I asked this question to my 4,000, thank you guys, plus subscribers now. And right now, I had 2 no's and 2 yes answers. I said no. Always stand on your standards. You deserve the best. I said, nope, don't compromise. If I'm patient, I will eventually meet the right person. And then other people said, yes, we got to compromise. Y'all hit the like button as you come in. This is life. People are not going to be perfect. And I left a choice that said, yes, good people come in unexpected packages. That was a number 1, y'all. 50% said, yes, we got to compromise our standards. Good people come in unexpected packages. Do you believe that? And then finally, I said, yes, the dating game has changed. Who you want may not want you. Oh, my goodness. So the yes, unexpected folks come in, good folks come in unexpected packages was number 1 so far. Go and vote, y'all. It's only 30 votes so far. And then tied for second at about 20% is no, if I'm patient, I won't lower my standards. I'll eventually find the right person. Tied with yes, I got to change my standards because who I want may not want me. Mr. Harrison Family Values, he also goes by Dre. Y'all got to check out his channel. Please go over and take a look. It's in the description. You can subscribe and support other wonderful content creators. And I'm just so excited because we got answers all over the board. There are folks who really believe they're going to get what they want. And that was a good 15% so far. No, I'm not compromising. I'm going to get what I want. I get what I deserve is actually what I put. And 15% so far said that. Y'all go over there and vote. But as I start this conversation, I'm glad I have help. I want to big up my guest. I was going to do your introduction, but you got a limited amount of time. So I'm going to let you come up and introduce yourself. Without further ado, welcome for the very first time to the Suzette Speaks show tonight, discussing are your dating standards keeping you single? None other than Andre Harrison from Harrison Family Values. Hello, sir.
Thank you so much for having me. Shout out to everybody in the chat. See, everybody is already engaged, and that was a
Yes, busy,
dope
busy.
poll. Yeah, that was a dope poll. I had to go in and submit
Oh,
my
you
vote.
voted now? Okay, what
Yeah,
did
I had
you
to go and
put?
submit. Now this is if I share what I
Oh, it's
voted for.
anonymous. Okay, we
Yeah,
don't give it away. We don't
because
give it away. We don't give it away.
nah, we'll probably get into that. We'll probably
I
get into that.
love it. I'm excited. He
Yeah,
is a fantastic content creator, y'all. I love his
thank
passion.
you.
You know where I picked him up at? Picked you up at, like you were not right there, but Instagram. I love your Instagram posts, which I'm sure
Oh,
are
thank
some
you.
clips. And
Mhm.
you keep it real, whether you in the car, wherever you are, you giving
Yeah,
it to us straight
yeah.
and no chaser about the realities of dating, marriage, and relationships. So before we start to dig a little deeper, please introduce yourself and thank you for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. First and foremost, I do my best to represent the Messiah as best as I can. So I'll call myself a child of God, and I try to represent him as best as I can. I'm a husband, a father of three amazing sons, and my oldest and his wife made me a grandfather. So
Oh,
I'm a grandfather as
congratulations.
well. Yes, thank you, thank you. By day, I am a teacher. I teach fourth grade math. And by night, I do my YouTube channel, Harrison Family Vlogs, Harrison Family Values. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
We just had a name change recently, and I also help married couples on the side as well. I
Wonderful.
Yeah, so I have a master's in education and a master's in marriage and family counseling, and yeah, I also I'm an author. I wrote a book called "From a Fatherless Father to His Sons." I grew up without my father, so I grew up in a single parent home. Grew up around all women. I had
Mm-hmm.
some good men in my life, but they weren't consistently there. So I gleaned from them what I could. I watched, I studied, did everything but take notes, and mocked and mimicked the men in my life. So I was sort of like that young boy growing up without a consistent father figure, trying to figure out what it meant to be a man. And here I am today, trying my best to be of service to people in general. Yeah, but
I
that's
love
pretty
it.
much it.
Welcome, welcome,
Yeah,
sir. They trying to
thank
find
you.
a poll. Y'all, I didn't put the poll actually on the YouTube video. I put it separate on the community page. My bad. I probably should learn how to do that right now and put one real quick. So as I figure that out, sir. So when
Yeah,
we came up, collabed on this topic,
yeah.
I love the fact he suggested it, y'all. I'm gonna give him his credit. What made you come up with this? I know you say as a teacher, as a father, as a husband, and you counsel
Mhm,
folks.
mhm.
So you see a lot, I'm sure, of couples or people who want to be married come to you for counsel. And
Yeah,
I see that you have, a very powerful, faith walk. So your faith kind of like is the overlay for how you approach most things. But
mhm.
let me know what made you come up with this topic. I loved it when I heard it.
So you know what it is? I try to come from a balanced perspective. I have, if you go through my videos, I have both women and men hating on me because of my position. And it's because here's the thing, I believe that in the modern dating stage that we're in today, I think uh again, some women have standards that are very unrealistic. And then on the flip side, we have men not willing to step up and be the leaders that many women need in the home. So I come from it
All
from
right,
a
say
sort
it
of like
again.
a
Say it again.
balance.
So he equal opportunity offender. You've offended both men
Yes,
and
I'll
both
offend
women
both. Yeah,
frequently with your views.
yeah.
And say again, just for emphasis.
So I encourage men to rise above it, and not necessarily meet the standards of women, but constantly try to improve yourself so that when you are in a situation, certain standards you are able to meet. But then also talking to women about their standards and saying, listen, that's not realistic. All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's get to both.
And
Let's okay, y'all. It's
so
not about the men only. It's not about the women only.
no.
But it sounds like we're gonna have a fair and balanced, right? Fair and balanced
Yeah.
approach. Shout out to DL say on the super chat. Sound machine soon come. Thank you so much, DL.
Well,
You can have
I'll give you that. I'll give you this.
I love it. We got help with the sound effects tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you. He says, "What's good, Suzette? I couldn't contribute to keeping your wife happy show, which was my last show. Go back and watch. Very unlikely did a fantastic job.
Dope show. Dope show.
I loved it. Very interesting show. How to keep a wife happy from the young man, married 4 years, but great perspective nonetheless. And that was the last show I did. So that's what DL is referring to. He said he can't contribute to that. DL single man. But this topic, yeah, I may have something to say. LOL. Thank you, DL. Always super supportive. Yes, we're going to drop the link and get everyone involved because, again, this idea of standards. I remember being a young woman. Don't compromise. Do not drop your standards. That was big. That was taught. My cousins, my homeboys, my friends, everybody said that to me. I'm trying to think of if I had anyone until now tell me otherwise. And I really don't believe I did. Coming up as a young woman, again, I was also raised in church, very religious background, strong community, strong family. Everybody said the same thing, don't lower your standards. And they meant in general for the most part. But I do think if they also intentionally meant don't bring no boy here, or we would say the island folk, don't bring no boy here. We can't, respect, or did it come from a certain level? So where do we begin? Where do we begin? Go ahead.
Let's talk about the church thing, right?
Okay.
So I'll ask you a couple of questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
Not interviewing you.
As long as you don't get too far in my business, but go ahead.
No, we won't. But the church that you went to, was it predominantly women or predominantly men?
Growing up, I had a balanced church. Growing up, I had a lot of men in my church.
That's good.
It was 80s and 90s, so it was early. It was just the beginning of drugs and crack taking over.
Yeah.
But when I immigrated, my family came here. We met a church of African American folks that it was male led, male head of households. People were still very married, older, like greatest generation, as well as the boomers. They were all married.
So now let me ask you another question. So in that church, was the message simply about women keeping a standard, or was it both the men and the women?
I don't know if they preach relationships. We didn't really. They preached salvation and community, serving of others. I don't think I got one. I always say that. I think my churches didn't tell me about how to date and what was to be done in a relationship.
And that's the thing. Yeah. You'll get the there's not really an in between. You'll get the church that won't touch dating at all, and then it leaves the people in the congregation to sort of fend for themselves, or if there's strong families like this church that you described, it's the families that will coach their children, the parents, on what to look for. So at that point, the church doesn't really need to step in where the family is leading. But then we have the other side of it, where we have some churches, specifically in the Black community, that are male-led, but driven by female congregants.
My Lord, that's the modern day. Was that always that way? I feel like that's like early 2000s come forward.
It started turning into that. I'm going to tell you when it turned into that, with the rise in prosperity preaching. So men are not going to be like, hey, if I give the church $50,000, I'm going to get back $1 million. Like, men don't really think like that. Like our faith tends to be a little bit more logical. Men who really believe, most cases can explain what they believe. It's not just about a faith. So now we're living in a modern day where modern dating standards has crept into the church, where now men from the church in order to keep the money coming and keep that security coming. They're going to sort of preach messages to tell women that they are this, they are that. They need to have these standards. Don't let no man come into your life if they're not blah, 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 if they don't check off these checks. And here's the reason why. For many cases, if a man comes into this woman's life, right,
I'm
and
listening.
she
You might need
becomes
to hit your
enlightened,
own sound effects for your own self, but go ahead. I'm listening.
and she becomes enlightened,
Yes.
right? She may take him from he may take her from that church, and that giving stops as well. So there could be some ulterior motives. Now, I try to
Are
give the
you a
benefit of the
pastor?
doubt. I was a full-time pastor for a number of years, assistant pastor for
Okay,
a
because
number of
only
years. Yeah.
pastors can speak about pastors now. I don't want
Yeah.
to get in trouble with the
Yeah.
Lord.
So no.
Praise be to God.
No, but here's the thing. We also have to be lovingly critical about the people that are leading us. We can't blindly follow somebody. So if some things aren't
Listen,
right, we got to be able to speak about it.
I love a thoughtful, analytical, critical thinking Christian. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
think that was common when we taught
Mhm.
critical thinking.
Yeah.
I don't even need to get into this, but shout out to side note, Developing Dad. He was over here, guys, for how do you know he's ready? Show. He did a show with me. Developing Dad is ending his channel, Developing Dad, and going into another full direction. I hope he keeps up today's show he did. Did you listen to some of it?
Yes.
His shows today?
Well, I see it today.
It was better than church.
Wow.
I was like, Developing
Yeah, he's a good
Dad,
brother.
you do need
Good
to
brother.
just go ahead and focus on your I don't know what he call it, like virtue lessons. What makes a man? Virtue.
Yeah.
Even non-Christian men at times throughout our history focused on the patience, the resilience, the physical health, like how they thought it was just the becoming of a man, the virtues. But Christians today cannot talk to you about virtue. But I'm not going to quote because Developing Dad took care of that today. Shout out to him, and I wish you much success because his voice is needed. Okay, sorry.
Yes.
I know.
And if I could just dispel a myth,
yes.
What you won't find in the New Testament church is an emphasis on money. They may discuss it because I know a TTOO left a comment that modern day would define modern day because in the Bible it was churches that were all about the money. I would need for you to show me a verse and a passage where it described churches being all about the money, because I haven't found it yet. And I'm a student of the Bible. I'm not perfect.
Oh, here we go. Define modern day, because the Bible, it was all churches. It was all about the money.
So I in the Bible it's not. But if you can share a scripture and leave it in the comments.
No, I think what people are preaching will make you believe that the Bible is all about money, but it's far from.
So we'll go back to relationships. If so, so today in churches, a lot of the messaging from the pulpit tends to be a little bit more catering to a female congregation or female audience, which is why a lot of men don't find themselves comfortable in churches. Now, there's could be a couple of other reasons as well. But when it comes to the messaging, it's hard for them to relate to it. So women can feel empowered, and I'm not saying women shouldn't be empowered, right? But when it comes to women getting this kind of message, not just from in the church, but from the media, from modern feminists out there, from pretty much everywhere, social media, women are conditioned to believe, even from home when they're growing up, even from home, they're conditioned to believe that the sort of like the world revolves around them, and that they can have standards, but everybody else must like them for who they are. So if anybody else has standards,
now let's get into some of that early conditioning. Again, hit the like button as you come in. I'm appreciative of everybody here watching. Positive vibes, no matter where you're watching from. I see you, Chicago in the building, PA in the building. Everybody who's watching, hit the like button. Drop a comment. Let us know where you're watching from. So shout out to everyone watching, and I'm grateful that I have special guest tonight, Harrison Family Values. Check out his channel, y'all. He talks about relationships all the time. So he's breaking off a little bit of that knowledge tonight. And I'm grateful that you do have some of that Christian and church raised context, because many of us, people of color, I'm assuming there are all type of people watching. Shout out to everyone. New Zealand, what's up? Canada and Norway, South Africa, Jamaica, everybody watching all over the world. Yeah, we got a little something going on. So no matter where you're watching from, I'm always going to bring you a different type of perspective. And my own has that overlay of, again, growing up in America from
Mhm.
Jamaican parents with an African American church base and seeing the change in what is now called evangelical
Yeah.
Christianity
Yeah.
and how there's been this kind of falling away from actual biblical principles. Okay,
Mhm. Yeah.
so with that kind of underlying kind of shift going on, back to my question about why do people teach daughters in particular?
Mhm.
If we're making an assumption, let's just make an
Yeah.
assumption.
Mhm.
Do people teach daughters people must accept you for who you are? You should not compromise. And if they do, why do they do that?
Mhm. Well, like sort of like the swing of the pendulum, right? We're living in a time where we have very polar opposites, sort of steering a narrative. And real quick, so just in response, TTOO says Jesus taught a church was selling animal sacrifices for money. It was a temple, and the reason why he went in there is because, and in his words, right, they made the house of worship into a den of thieves. The reason why
Mm-hmm.
he did that is because their focus was money. So the reason why he turned over the tables is because they was trying to make money in the church, and that wasn't the place to do it. So that's why he did it. So that's
All
actually,
right, CTO, want to get the Bible lessons going
yeah,
tonight. We're going to stay on subject, but thank you. Yes.
yeah.
So
All
money
right,
being a part of the Bible is a true statement, but
yes,
the focus of, I would dispute that. But go
yeah,
ahead. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So back to what I was saying about the polar opposites, right? So we have now
Thanks, Harmony. Mm-hmm.
um uh m- feminism starting in hopes that there will be equality for men and women, for women to rise. But what started to happen is with modern feminism, the pendulum started to shift from not from seeking equality, but seeking superiority. So now we have in this modern day two polar opposites. Now we have now the manosphere, red pill community, modern day feminism fighting each other for
Is
superiority
modern day feminism seeking superiority?
in most cases. So now here's the
Give
thing.
me an example
There's
of that.
so we have uh I'll get an example is modern women wanting traditional men, but not wanting men to expect them to be traditional at the same time. Now, when I speak, I'm not speaking everybody. I'm
Okay,
not
yes,
speaking everybody. So,
can
and that's
be.
the thing. People tend to be, oh, well, he's talking about everybody. No, I'm not. There are a lot of great women out there, solid women, just like there are a lot of great men and solid men as well. But in the midst of all that, what tends to happen is that the voices that are the loudest
Mm.
are the ones that tend to be more toxic and dividing, right?
Because they're attention getting
Yeah,
and
yeah.
whatnot. Yeah.
So again, so when people come with a more balanced approach, right,
Mm-hmm.
they'll get like attacked from both sides.
Mm-hmm.
But then you also got the support as well. So you have the polar the polar opposites rising, and now
So
it's
you were
now it's
saying that this example you were giving was that modern women want a traditional man but don't want to be traditional. Explain that.
necessarily. So for instance, right, um, uh, today's day it's expected for the man to work. A woman, and as we mentioned before, and shout out to Chantel who had a live stream that was actually amazing, and she touched on this a little bit as well. Women would love to have a man to provide for them, right? Like the question you asked earlier, should a woman expect to help build a family and build with a man, or should she expect to have it already established, right? And then she comes into something that's already established. Many modern women, and I'm not saying all right, and I'm gonna flip this too. So women, hear me out. Many modern women would love to come into a situation that's already established, right? And they think that it's the man's responsibility to make sure that that happens. It's what the woman deserves. She deserves to have this, right? So they desire this. They want this. They want to come into something that's nice. They want it to look nice. They want to be able to come in and say, "My husband got it all," right? But some cases they don't want to do what's required of them as far as what it means to be a wife. So they have these demands of a husband, and this husband must do what she feels she deserves. But then the question is, does she really know what is required of her in the same type of relationship? Now, mind you,
Okay.
let me flip this.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm
Men
trying to
aren't.
create a poll in this. And shout
Yeah, go
out,
ahead.
oh, developing dad. Oh my goodness.
He's there. What's going on,
Yes.
bro?
What are the chances?
Good brother.
Yes. Okay,
Good
go
brother.
ahead. Finish your
But the
point.
flip side to this is modern men, right? Have grown up in the video game culture. Okay, where responsibilities have sort of been skewed, right? Where many men, not all, but many men, would forsake responsibility for leisure, for fun, for whatever it is, and not rise to not raise the bar for themselves in order for them to be the men that many women desire or require from them. So we want men to be men. All right, we want men to be men, but some men don't really want to be held accountable to those standards either. So we're living in a time where women want men to meet their standards, but not necessarily want men to uh, expect them to be traditional in a home, and vice versa. We have men wanting women to be traditional, right? But then they're not really raising the bar for themselves in order for that to happen, so that they can be the ones out there. So it's we're really living in a time where in modern dating where it's very difficult to find what we want because a lot of sacrifice is required for that to happen. A lot of, okay, I grew up with these standards, but now let me look at my standards and let me see where these standards came from. How did I develop these standards in the first place? Where did I learn that this was what I should be looking for in a man, or this is what I should be looking for in a marriage or a relationship? And really unpack those things and get to the core of what it really means to be happy in a relationship. Happiness in a relationship tends to look like this. What are you doing for me? Because what you do for me makes me happy, and therefore I'm happy. So we put a lot of expectations on somebody else to make us happy in a relationship, right? That's a lot of responsibility for me to hold as a husband and for my wife to hold as a wife. It's a huge
Absolutely.
responsibility. So modern dating tends to look like I'm trying to get what I can get from this situation, and I'm trying to find somebody to make me happy. What we don't hear a lot is this: I'm ready to be a wife.
Eesh.
I'm ready to be this wife, and I'm going to find somebody that I can be a wife to. Or you know what? I'm ready to provide for my family. You know, I want a wife. I want a kids. I want to protect. I'm willing to
Let's
jump.
break that down even more. I'm
Yeah,
ready to cook every day.
yeah, yeah.
I'm ready to start doing someone else's laundry.
Hmm.
I'm ready to start. We can fill in the blank. So many,
So
start combing children's hair every day,
yeah, now let
or
me ask you a question.
taking
How
people to
many
baseball
how
practices.
many of your female friends have ever come to you and said, "I'm ready to be a wife," and then use those things
Never.
as descriptions?
Only my friends after they're married, they're like, Sue, I'm so tired. That's all they
Listen,
say. Shout
yeah,
out. It's about 50 people in the chat right now. I set up a
yeah.
survey, my first survey. Do you think you should lower your standards or not? I'm so excited that you guys encouraged me to do that. But thank you. Yeah, there's not a lot
Mm-hmm.
of both men and women saying when they say, I want to get married,
Mm-hmm.
the actual practical everyday application of what that means
Yeah,
is not a part of that sentiment. It's like,
yeah.
oh, I want this woman. I want access to her. I want, oh,
Yes,
the
yes.
fun part. And then, like you're saying, there's a reality check for both
Both.
in
Yeah.
terms of what is actually expected of you by your partner.
So, and that's why a lot of divorces happen because they get to the point where they say to themselves, I didn't sign up for this.
No,
And that's
it was like,
because
wait a minute, you want me to cook too? You want
I
me
didn't
to
sign
do?
up. Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
on, we're
Men,
not
men
doing
too.
that. Like,
Men too. Like men
people
will
want
say,
the
men,
wedding. Some
yes.
people,
Yeah.
generalizations, some people want the wedding. They
Hmm.
don't necessarily want the man for good or for bad or for rich or for poor or sickness and health.
Hmm.
All that part, they
Yeah.
forgot that's what they said.
A
And it
couple,
gets so frustrating for them as a result. Go ahead, sir.
yeah. A couple of months, like a month and a half ago, I was watching Anton Daniels and he was doing a live and he had a couple of guys on a live stream and they was having a discussion. And this man's wife, right, got on him. He was playing video games. This man's wife got on him because the lawn needed to be mowed. And he was on a live stream talking to Anton Daniels and a couple other dudes playing video games, right? Again,
That's
expectations,
somebody's
right?
husband.
Yes, expectations, right? So a man, right, would know that the lawn needs to be mowed.
Right. Right. Or
But
take care of business first and then come
yeah,
back. And shout out
yes,
to Chantel Simone. I see that she is also live
yeah, hmm
watching I was just watching a piece of it also off
yeah,
camera
yeah.
talking
Shout out
about
to
the
Chantel Simone.
traditional
Hmm
modern woman. Is there such a
hmm
thing? And I kind of
hmm
was like, I think I'm a modern traditional woman.
hmm
Does that
Yeah.
make sense? Maybe I should define my terms. But yeah, there's a lot of that happening where I think men don't necessarily want to be traditional either.
No, no.
Do
And I
men
think,
really want to be a provider, protector, and all that?
yeah, I think innately men desire that because
Okay.
men will do that for their boys too. Like,
Okay.
that like they'll fight for their friends and whatever. I think innately they are protectors and they're territorial. So once a man, and ladies, I'm not saying that you're a possession. I am not saying that you're somebody's possession. Okay. So please don't put words in my mouth. But a man who is with a woman will protect them as if she is his prized possession. Like, so he's going to want to protect her. He's going to want to. So at least a good man will. A good man who understands his role in a
Absolutely.
marriage and a relationship. And just like a
Absolutely.
good woman, a good wife would I understand that, you know what? I want to be this piece for him. I want to be this piece for him, right? Again, when it comes to the standards, do we really know what's expected of us or do we really do we, because here's the question, right? The question is, are our standards too high, or should we lower our standards? I don't know necessarily if we should lower our standards. We should have standards, but then identify what makes us right to be in a relationship at the same time.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
So again, a woman can have standards, a man can have standards, but if
I
they're
think this
not
is yeah.
ready to
Yeah,
be
go
in a
ahead.
relationship, yeah, if
Yeah,
they're not ready to be in a
we're gonna
relationship,
flow so well into Saturday's conversation. Saturday at 12
yeah.
noon, I'll have a conversation. Your first red pill experience.
Mm,
I think the reality check that I got and that many other women have gotten in just joining this YouTube sphere is that there are so many more questions people, and including women, have to ask themselves.
mm.
What do you bring? Why would somebody want to marry you?
Can, can
Where
I?
do you offer something of value to the other person? And that is
Mhm.
not to say you're not seeking it, because I always hear well, I need a man who, and I need a man that, and my man has to. And then I always think, but sis, now that I have the awareness, well, what do you think he wants? And it's always like and then there's a good back and forth. Let's leave it. Go
Mhm.
ahead,
Yeah.
Harrison. Family values.
So let's stay on that for a second. How many women do you know, at least in the faith, claim to be the prize? Right? They claim to be the prize, right? And they also claim to be the Proverbs 31 woman. The Bible says in Proverbs 31, uh, a virtuous woman who can find for her value is so much
why
greater
you wanna
than.
do me like that? Yes,
Now,
sir.
here's the thing.
I
You
know what
talked
to say.
about.
I know
You
what to
brought this up. You brought this up. You talked about women, what women bring to the table. Now, that's an offensive term to many women out there. What do you bring to the table? Women get upset, offended by an honest question. But here's what's deep, because I heard recently a lady say that you can't be talking about what a woman brings to the table. She was a Proverbs 31 woman. She's valuable. But here's the thing about Proverbs 31. Proverbs 31 was a queen instructing her son on
Mhm.
what to look for in regards to what a woman brings to the table. And people don't realize that. The whole chapter of Proverbs is a mother instructing her son, this is what you need to be looking for in a woman. This is what a woman should be bringing to the table. And if she doesn't bring these things to the table, son, go find somebody who does. You
So
know,
are we not to is it biblical to say that you're the prize?
what makes you the prize though? Because again, that scripture, it says for her value is far greater than rubies. And then
Rubies.
she
Mhm.
goes into what makes her valuable. So what we do is we take that one verse and say, this is
Oh,
me.
I'm totally valuable for just being
Just
me. I'm
yes,
valuable more than
yes,
rubies. But we
yes.
didn't read the rest.
The
Okay, I see
rest
what
of
you're
it. And the
saying.
rest of it is telling him, this is what makes her valuable.
What
She's
else is in
doing
that
these
Proverbs
things.
31 for people who don't read the Bible or don't
I
know
can
that?
open it up.
You can
You
open it up.
know,
You can go
I'm
open
gonna
it up
open
because
it
we're gonna
up.
speak truth here. Let me get to the chat while you do that. And I
Yeah.
just want to read again, developing dad. I was talking about you. I hope you heard me. And thank you for the super chat again, sir. Dropping in to show support. I'm gonna read more of the chat, guys. I've been getting kind of like caught up. Thank you for answering the survey question. Should you ever lower your standards in dating or in marriage to find a real match? Yes or no? I'll tell you guys what the survey is looking like. Thank you again, developing dad, for your contributions to this space. I know, as I said, I don't know if you heard me. Today's show, could you leave that up? Today's show was fire. I was listening to it and I was just rocking with you about classical Christianity, and then I was like, you made me think. I'm like, am I like to myself? Am I a classical Christian and I don't even know that's where I should be, and things I should look for should actually be called classical Christianity. So you're teaching me already. And he's going over on his school called, if I get the name wrong, Imago Dei Nola. Represent from New Orleans. So Imago, it's like Latin. He's teaching Latin and all this stuff.
Image of God. Like,
Yay, thank you
Day.
for the translation.
Yeah.
And he's transferring the developing dad, kind of putting that to rest and going over into another space, but teaching where his heart is, right? Teaching what he's teaching his children, teaching what he's teaching in other places. You know, this is him being authentic. So shout out to you, sir. But today's show hit me different, hit me very differently. So thank you for being a part of my experience here on YouTube, and can't wait to see what you do on your next leg of this adventure. But yes, the video games set them off. Cheers to a balanced conversation, says the Harmony Pill. Hey, Black Man Unfiltered.
Black man.
Good to see you. Developing Dad, I imagine the show is going to be extremely thoughtful. We're going to try our best to convict, encourage, and all the rest of it. Thank you so much. Jeremy, nice to see you, says, I agree with this brother. Okay. Here's an interesting formula, says Kinardak, to use take a risk plus allow the process is called.
That's deep.
Okay. Wow.
That's deep.
Thank you. I can't answer the poll. A lot of people are not built for this tough road. TCOL says, okay, no problem. Dana, nice to see you, says, I had a cotillion at 16. It would have been good if, of course, if a course came with the coming out exactly about relation. We just did a cotillion. I did a cotillion. What can churches do to help girls get ready for marriage? A whole lot. That's a good question. Hold on to that question. I see you guys in the chat. He talked about this today, prolonged adolescence. Very deep, very, very deep. Oh my goodness. Yes. Harmony likes what she's hearing. Hey, Simon Hectic. So many more in the chat. Thank you so much, Snuggles, on the super chat. I'm going to drop the link soon, Snuggles. Don't you worry. We'll see if you actually come up. Hey, Ebony, nice to see you. I see the crowd is growing. If you guys want, hit the like button, please. Can we get up to at least 50 likes, y'all? I appreciate everyone for showing love. Harrison, Family Values, here doing work on the subject. Are your standards keeping you single? So we were getting into the Proverbs 31, and I'm going to drop the link shortly. But he was telling us that women biblically say they are more precious than rubies, but there was more as to why you were more precious than rubies.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if you're able to do this, but I
you done brought the screen share. Yes,
yeah,
sir.
That's okay.
Come on now, teach now.
All right. So, and I have it highlighted, but it's not because. So please, I'm not like.
Let me try. Can I make it bigger?
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Zoom in.
Let
me
see if I can zoom in. Let me see if I can make sure I can zoom this. All right. Control plus.
This is Proverbs.
Is that good?
That's good. We'll take it.
All right. So if you read it, it says it starts from verse 10. All right. Now if you look in the beginning, right, you notice here that it's the queen just instructing her son. Then he goes into an excellent wife who can find. She is far more precious than jewels. And then it describes what makes her more precious. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack or gain. She does him good and not harm all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax and works with willing hands. She is like the ships of the merchant, and she brings her food from afar. She rises while it is yet night, and provides food for her household and portions for her maiden. She considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hand, she plants a vineyard, and it goes on and on about what she does and what qualifies her to be what's highlighted here: an excellent wife who is
Well,
far more precious than jewels.
mhm.
So again, when we you know highlight only certain scriptures to make us feel good about ourselves, we do ourselves a disservice, because what we need to do is look at the whole thing and say, okay, if I'm the prize, what makes me the prize? Now it goes back to the question I asked earlier. You can have standards, but what makes you ready to be a husband? What makes you ready to be a wife? If you can't identify those things, regardless of what standards you have, you're never going to keep the person that you actually catch who may meet those standards in the first place.
I
So
want
I
to give
think
you a
that.
Holy Ghost shout, but I didn't want to be. Didn't want to give, he pulling up scriptures, y'all, but we got to make it plain, because I think
Yeah.
people are stuck on the one opening verse, and he's
Hmm.
donating to his own wonderful stream here. I should be giving to you support. He says had to support. Y'all go over to his channel, check him out if you like relationship talk, marriage talk, family life talk,
Hmm.
from father, now grandfather,
Yeah.
worker in the vineyard, real Christian man and a Christian
Hmm.
worldview.
Yeah.
Go
And
over and visit
practical.
him.
Practical. I try to
Practical.
have a
Okay, I was gonna
practical
say not too
position as well.
legalistic. Thank you.
Yeah.
Not
Exactly.
always like get you the word and all the word and word, but
Hmm.
the actual living out of virtue. Let's
Yeah.
go. Let's
Hmm.
go.
Yeah.
I can't even go there. Thank you, because Developing Dad got me all hyped from earlier today. Go watch his final stream as Developing Dad. Whew.
Yeah, I got to check that out too.
Words of wisdom today. Watch
Hmm.
almost the whole thing, listening to the almost the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so great analysis. I'm going to drop the link shortly. So tell us about where we're going wrong. If you think we're going wrong in standards, I'm not assuming, because you
Hmm.
didn't tell me how you voted on the
Hmm.
poll as to whether we
Yeah.
should lower our standards. You have daughters?
No, I don't. I have a
Only son?
granddaughter now, but no, I don't have a daughter. You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I've always wanted a daughter, and I
And you
pray,
never
I pray,
did.
pray that I can. I pray one
But
day
you got
I
the
will.
grandbaby now. You
We have
good.
a granddaughter, yeah. But I tell you,
So do you
after
want her to
teaching,
lower her standards?
I want her to have realistic standards about what she really wants in life. Because again, we have to ask ourselves, where do we get these standards from?
Explain.
So we have an image of what good relationships look like, because we see couple goals on Instagram, and I think social media has really messed up our thinking when it comes to realistic relationships. We
Uh-oh.
see people like um uh Lori Harvey and Homeboy,
Michael
Mike, yes,
B.
Jordan,
Jordan.
right? And
Sis,
I got to
that's
be
not
honest,
us. That's not us. But
but
go
here's the
ahead.
thing: I don't know any man that looks at
Uh-huh.
Michael B. Jordan and they're like, "Yo, I want that lifestyle." But I know a few women that have had conversations with that want what is being provided for Lori Harvey.
Or think they
Um,
can get it.
oh, they get it. Now, I'm not saying that it's bad to want those things. What I am saying is it's not necessarily realistic, or nor does it equate to a happy relationship. What do you really want? Do you want a happy relationship? All right. Will your standards help you get there? Okay, because yeah, you can have a dude that's 6'4". He's got a nice six pack and all that stuff. He can
Six,
even
six,
have,
six.
yeah, the 666.
Mm-mm.
He can have all that, but will you be happy with him? Are you sure about that?
Mm-mm.
So we have certain standards, but understand that sometimes your standards is motivated by vanity. A lot of the things that we have in our list of standards are fleeting.
Give
It's
me
not. It's not
examples. Give me examples for real life practicality.
looks,
When you say look, because people are
looks.
looking around.
Now and
Looks.
again, looks is
Tell me what you
important
mean by that. How is that not a good standard?
because looks leave. Looks
Mm,
won't stay with us forever.
right.
Okay.
I know that. Yeah.
It's
Hallelujah.
gonna it's gonna fade. Now, initially, you can be attracted to the person and say, "Well, she's bad." Oh, he's handsome. Like he's got everything, right? Getting to know a person, identifying their character is important. How many people do we know that really start off their list of standards with what a person's character is like? Now, if we start our list with character traits that we want in our mate, and then go into what they look like, we may have a more balanced and realistic approach to what would make us happy. Okay. And I'll give an example. All right. Rest in peace to Kevin Samuels. He had the discussion about the high value men. And then even in that, he had a live stream where he talked about high value men don't cheat, they exercise options. Okay, let's say that is the case. Okay, I will say I don't necessarily agree with that. I think a man who's married exercising option is committing adultery. But let's say that is the case. All right, this man may meet every single vanity standard that this woman has, so she chose to marry him, but she's still not happy in the marriage. Why? Because although he met her standards, right, she didn't have anything substantial in her standards. Therefore, now she married this guy who met all her standards, every check, but now she's not happy because he's not catering to her, and he may not have had the most positive character to begin with.
It's amazing
So
how overemphasis on physicality has
yes,
become like a norm.
yes,
Like
and
I
the thing is,
heard,
and the more
mhm,
and more we get into, we move forward, right? The more and more we have social media and this thing called body dysmorphia. Everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be filtered. Everything has to be airbrushed. Everything has to be
like a non-real person.
yes.
Yeah, it's shout out to
And
Andrew on the super sticker. Thank you so much for always supporting. Appreciate you. Can't wait to see what you do with your new channels. And shout out
mm,
to Developing Dad. Thank you for leaving up that last one. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Hit the like button, please, as you come in. And what you're saying makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna drop the link here shortly. There's so many people I believe that are so wrapped up in physical, and I don't mean just in terms of their own physical attractiveness,
mm-hmm,
what society deems
mm-hmm,
as who they should be with. Do you get
mm-hmm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's a lot. I remember when, let's see, what's his name? Russell Wilson, his first wife. So much was made about her looks and how she
Yeah.
was, quote, below him. And I was like, that had to have impacted their marriage.
Impacted.
Not
Yeah.
saying I don't know anything about the lady's
Yeah.
character, I don't know anything about what he went home to, but just that kind of constant, like, badgering, not just
Mm-hmm.
scrutiny, but like overt, like dissing of this man's wife, I had to have an impact on both of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think sometimes everybody thinks they're Russell Wilson, not saying everyone, but I mean it in a general sense that, people think of what others, think is right for them or that
Mm-hmm.
they deserve now. I think there's a lot more of that as
Yeah.
far as social approval than what you would be chilling. I actually, me and a family member were talking about a homeboy we grew up with. He went out to like the outskirts of like Chicago and married this really, I'm talking about beautiful dark skinned woman, beautiful melanated woman, but average in terms of what people would tell him he could get. Do you get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
She in of herself, physically speaking, but that woman does family, take care of the kid, like take care of her. I realized who he chose. I was like, this man is smart. He had to leave Miami to go do his life because
Mm-hmm.
if he stayed in Miami, the hot girl seasons and the desire to, fit in may cause that, social pressure to bleed over into your real life and you end up with a woman you don't even want. But
Yeah.
again, she fits the mold. She looks the part. She's, the 10, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I realized we were like, we haven't heard from him in a while. He's kind of like chilling in the outskirts of Chicago. Ain't nobody know he was there. But he has a great household. I'm sure if you ask him, he's well satisfied with his selection. And again, not that she's not beautiful, but people would look at his physical attractiveness and put him with someone more beautiful. You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of that going on. And I do think with love and respect, people don't have a good self-awareness. Some people don't have a good self-awareness. That muscle takes time to develop, and oftentimes we think we're more desirable than we are.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we think we're more what should I say, meeting of standards than we likely will be. And I think that throws us off sometimes when it comes to, who we think we can get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Shots fired. Okay, you have anything on your shot machine for that?
No, I
Just
think you're absolutely right. You're absolutely
weird.
right.
A lot of
And
people, you
it,
look at them and you're like, no, 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 that's happening.
mhm.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And I guess, and um rest in peace to Kevin Samuels. He's the one who platformed this conversation, and a much needed conversation they needed to be had. Now, again, I don't agree with everything that he said, but that was one of those things that he brought out that we really needed to discuss, because going into relationships with that mindset causes 50% of marriages to end.
Yeah.
And we're crossing over. So again, people don't understand what relationship is about. And I think D. Burns said it best. Is it lowering your standards or changing your standards to what is effective in a good relationship? Do we really know what is important? Or let me say this, what is essential
Yeah.
in a good relationship? The truth of
Mm.
the matter is this: looks isn't essential. Okay. But it's important. It's one of those things that, you will love the person that you married to maintain their looks.
Mm.
The problem is this: nobody maintains their looks for the rest of their lives. It's not
Everybody
going to
get
happen.
old. Everybody
Everybody's
get
going to get
old.
old. Yes. Now, here's the thing: do you want to marry somebody that you're willing to get old with, or do you want to marry somebody that's going to be good for you for like 2 or 3 years and then go keep, recycling women or recycling men until you're old and alone?
Oh Lord, I'm dropping the link, y'all. Come on up. This is
Well,
TTO says I need looks to
she's
draw
more
me
crooked.
in, and it's
Yeah.
character after that. Uh-oh. Okay. Whew, Harmony
Sorry
Pill
about
says
that.
they say they need looks and then character. That's what
Yeah.
Harmony Pill says. I have found the most attractive 666 men to be very poor character.
Yeah.
In character and have been instantly turned off by them. Wow, people don't know what they're wishing for.
Hmm.
The Christian fam.
Hey, yo, Jermaine.
Okay, you brought folk. Nice to see you. First time seeing that name. Lots of babies been made based off a dude with pretty eyes. Lord help us. We were young once. My goodness, no judgment. Pretty eyes or a chick with a big old badon badon. Oh my goodness, isn't that
Yeah.
not the Law and Order? Not the
Listen.
Law and Oh my Jesus. Hey, Dr. Thunder in the chat. Diane, let me know if you want to come up. Hey. Wow. Kennardic says, I like how Harrison family values tied in KS point provided a counterpoint. It shows that he was able to disagree intelligently. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, impressed with a dude's looks, impressed with a woman's look. I know a lot of men fell into some traps because of the
Can we,
overemphasis on
hey,
physical and not
can
enough
we talk about that?
character. Yes, go ahead.
And here's where I tend to really get on men, because they put themselves in a very compromising financial position because they're led by a woman's looks. And
That's
they
real.
and we look at sex as purely recreational. The problem with that is this, and men, hear me out. This is going to rub some people along the way. Can I go ahead just a little bit, Suzette? I think I lost. I'm gonna go here anyway. Okay. The sign, her not saying anything gives me the permission. So, we're living in a time where um,
Yes, please
women.
talk. I got to take a little ladies' room break. Go ahead.
All right, cool. Women control uh, the access to children, right? So, uh, or access to parenthood. Today's day, with again, they're looking aside to the Roe v. Wade decision that may be made in the future. As of right now, um, women have the right not to be moms. Depending on the state you're in, man, if you happen to have a good night with a beautiful female and she chooses to be a mom, you don't have a choice to not be a dad. So understand this: a lot of men make decisions based on a temporary feeling of, I got to get this off right now. And that temporary feeling, once it gets off and that gets off, gets conceived, now your choices and your options are completely gone. You've made a very poor decision because you wanted a temporary moment of satisfaction that's going to affect you for the next 18 to 21 years of your life. Now you're subject to the woman you had sex with to either make you a dad or free you from fatherhood because you weren't ready to. So men really got to be wise in how they navigate this space, which is why I really believe that, that I'm really against the whole recreational sex thing because of this reason. It's not financially best for men to do that. But yeah.
Got you. All right. We got some guests in the back. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you guys being here. Chemo says looks should be more important to a man. Women chasing looks will set themselves should be more important to a man. Should. What would you
Mhm.
say to that, Doc?
Um, yeah, men are definitely physical, but a man shouldn't marry a woman based on looks.
Hmm.
It could be something that initially attracts him. He's got to identify who she is as a woman, what she values, and if she's desiring to be a wife, not just being a pretty woman looking for a man to finance her life.
That's how a lot of people getting got, bro.
Yeah,
A lot of people getting got,
yeah,
man.
agreed.
Mm. Let me see if I can bring up my guest in the back. Mind if we open up the
Hmm.
panel? I see
Yeah, love
DL
to have some
saying, I see
conversation.
Simon Hectic. The link has been dropped. If you guys want to come through, give your opinion as to whether people's, yours, mine, whoever's
Hmm.
dating standards might be too high. Not standards of dating, but the individuals that they're seeking to partner with.
Yeah,
Are they unrealistic in terms of their standards, or should they maintain their standards? Are you ready, DL? Are you ready, Simon? Good to see everybody. Come on up. How you doing?
Yo, what's good? How y'all doing tonight?
Simon, how are
brother,
you?
what's going on?
Good to have you, and I'm excited to have you guys on sharing your opinions on this subject matter, all the way from the UK. Simon Hectic in the building. Nice to
Let's,
see you, bro.
let's
All
put that
right,
late
Okay,
out there.
okay.
let's
What's
start.
good, bruv?
Let's go. Go ahead, DL. What do you want to
Peace.
add?
Oh, a lot of this was a great conversation, by the way. Thanks for having it, and thanks
Of
for having
course.
me. Um, I just there's a lot that's been covered here, and I want to go back to the independent thing. You know what I mean? And this is like shout out to Rollo Tomasi, who, by the way, is in your town, Suzette. Right now, the center of the red pill world, the manosphere, is in Miami.
No
Just so y'all
way.
know, they are
No
there for the
way.
weekend. Be
Ooh.
careful. So
Turning up.
the push to be independent, independent of what? Men, and that's what Rollo Tomasi puts out there. And I've kind of been thinking about that, toying with that idea. And I mean, is I want to know from your host. And I'm sorry, brother, I didn't jot your
Mhm.
name down, but
Harrison Family Values. Let me put
Harrison,
it up
yes,
Yeah,
here
sir.
so
So
you
yeah.
guys know. Special guest tonight is Harrison Family Values.
I
Harrison
even got my
Family
mother in
Values,
the chat. What's going
and
on, mommy?
Mom is in
and
the chat.
My
Cool.
mom's in the chat.
but brother Harrison, I'm curious to hear your take on that.
Mhm.
Women strive nowadays. Women are striving to be independent, and it's like there's a segment of the world that says, well, they want to be independent of men. What's your
Mhm.
take on that?
I think it's a fallacy. I think it's more of convenience instead of independence. Um, the truth of the matter is this: women can't be independent from men. Men can't be independent from women. And if we suggest anything of the sort, we're not really being genuine. We balance each other out. So if women really want to be independent, they don't want to be independent. They want the convenience of having a man around when they want them around and when they need them around. So they're not if they really want to be independent, then they would have to cut men off altogether, and every single service, every single thing that they need in life would have to come from another woman, and it's not possible. We live in a society and community where we live together, and because we live together, we should function in this community together. We won't grow as a people, as a human race, if men are living independent from one another and women are living in like we're not. This isn't like Themyscira and Wonder Woman and her Amazons on an island. What are they doing? It can't
Well,
happen.
I
It's
guess
not
let's talk
realistic.
about financial independence.
Even financial independence.
Because I think what happened was there were people who grew up in the boomer era
Hmm.
and even in the Gen Y who felt their financial dependence upon a
Hmm.
man compromised their ability to live a full and happy life.
Hmm.
So I was putting myself in those shoes, brought up in the 60s and the 70s or even in the 80s. And yes, my man took care of the bills, but he was, quote, exercising options. He had Miss
Hmm.
Mary down the street
Yeah.
taking care of her bills too. He had, a couple people at church taking care of their bills or whatever the situation was. So in those hardships was birthed the mindset of, nah, I'm gonna raise a daughter who has an option not to have to deal with this. And
Hmm.
in other scenarios, men who were sent away, for the during the drug war, so-called drug war, we gotta hustle now. We
Hmm.
gotta figure out how we're gonna take care of ourselves.
Hmm.
So now I don't have a man here that is providing that foundational stability. So
Hmm.
now I can only raise children with the mindset of go get the bag yourself. And so I have children, maybe 2 or 3 generations now, who may not understand the importance of both, or the balance that both bring to the community. So I don't know if we can also, we got to just make sure not to discuss this. Hey, Savior, back, I see in the back, in a vacuum as to where this desire for independence came from, or maybe was birth, without, kind of tackling, can we change it now? Do you understand?
Well, but we also have to ask this question: how's it been? Like what's the
Oh
outcome?
no!
How's
If
it
somebody
produced what
told
it
me
want?
I could have been a housewife, I might have had a different life.
Yeah.
I didn't even
So
have that as a concept.
yeah. So the question is like, how's it working out for you, independent woman? Like, are you happy and do you feel
Ladies, who wants
fulfilled?
to come up and help me? Thanks.
So yeah, that'd be a good question to ask them, because how's it working out for you? And that's the
Well,
question.
I think there are women that might be satisfied. I don't want to speak for everybody.
Yeah, you're right. Because again, we can't speak for everybody.
A lot of mercy. All right,
Yeah.
here we go, Simon. Let me bring Simon up. How are you tonight? Uh-oh, you're muted. Go ahead, unmute yourself for me.
Sorry about that.
How are you? I love your accent. You can't come up any and every time. How you doing this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic, thank you. And
How's the
I'm glad to
panel?
see you here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So what are your thoughts on tonight's discussion?
I've been through a 10-year marriage, so it's here and there, isn't it? You pick who you pick, and inevitably, it's about your intuition, right? As a man or female, and you get into those relationships. If you're serious, that is, like, you're not just gonna start inviting someone round to your house, and then start talking about having some long-term relationship unless you're serious with them. And you must have some sort of connection. Come on, guys, like men on the panel, right? You see that girl goes to the bathroom for the first time, you're like, what? Do you get what I'm saying? It's like, can I cope with that? Like,
hold on. So this is, I thank you, pretty awesome. JM says these conversations are so cyclical. You're attracted to each other or you're not. Your morals and values align or they don't. If your standards don't align, it's okay to move on. So
But then it goes back to the question then.
Mm-hmm.
Are your standards keeping you single? And I think that's what we're discussing. So I'm not sure if it's more cyclical, because it's actually addressing the question. And even that, if your standards is causing you to move on, you just missed your knight in shining armor. You may have just missed the best woman that you would have ever met in your whole life.
Yeah, that's the problem with what we're saying. You're actually describing the issue pretty awesome. Because maybe that would be your person.
I mean, when you talk about standards too, and the chat was touching on the financial part of that, let's just face it, like most people in America are broke, they're struggling, it's hard out here, and it's gonna get harder real soon. Like, it's tough out here. So I believe it's difficult to ask a person to lower their standards when maybe one of the biggest criteria is based on the financial part. I'm not mad at female dating strategy with respect to hypergamy. I'm not mad at all. Like, if you're looking for someone who is financially stable, I'm not mad at you.
Simon giving you the side eye.
I'm not mad. As far as I'm concerned,
we're gonna do a whole show next Tuesday about.
That's right.
The
So I'll keep it.
hypergamy. I like the way you dropped in the little gems.
Just a little gem, but we'll get into that deeper at a later date. But I can't be mad at that. However, it's really hard for someone who is financially struggling to say, okay, I'm going to work hard with this person who's doing maybe worse than I am financially. I can see how people won't be so willing to lower that standard. Now, is that right? Is it wrong? That's up to the individual.
I'm gonna let Simon jump in. Go ahead, Simon. In this comment, sorry, the last good man in Jersey, nice to see you, says in the 60s, people married early, women were housewives, and men cheated. Working women increased, cheating decreased, and then sexual liberation ruined everything. Do you guys agree with this statement?
No, not really. Not all of it.
Oh no,
Not all of it.
no. All right.
I see
TTO
where he's
says
coming
none of my
from.
elders
Yeah.
were housewives. My grandma was on my one side.
I don't think that people are financially struggling in the US. I mean, like especially women. I mean, facts speak. You know, although like men they're in a different position. Okay, fair enough. Like men do earn more than women statistically, but there's another thing that's going on, which is like it's like the elephant in the room per se. So you can say, oh, women are struggling financially or they're struggling some other term, but that's not the case. I mean, it's just there's been a disconnection, and women have been led to believe that they can get on in life based on their qualifications. And in my experience, that's fine. You could get a job, they'll accept you, and you'll get on with it. But there's the emotional part, and the part where it's like, okay, I'm a woman, and you know, I might want to have children. I might want to have a family. I might want to like live. And that's the part that's missing out of all of this, because it's, you know, I speak, yo.
No, I like it. I like it. I'm following everything that you're saying.
My point wasn't that women aren't earning. I was just talking about if that's one of your criteria. And we're talking about the median income for a man and woman in America. In 2020, you're looking at it's about 51,000 median income for a woman, and it's about 61,000 for a man. So if you're that man and that woman, I'm not upset if either party is looking up. And it's not that they can't earn more money. And then again, when you look at the median income, depending on where you live in the US, right? If you're making $50,000 a year and you're living in LA, that couple is still going to struggle even if they marry and they combine those incomes. They're still going to struggle in Los Angeles, in New York, in Seattle, but they're doing just fine in Fayetteville, North Carolina. They're doing just fine in Cincinnati, Ohio. They're doing just fine, you know, in you know, Montgomery, Alabama. So again, my point was, I can understand people not wanting to, you know, settle on that particular financial point. Maybe they're like, you know what? I don't care about the looks. I don't care about the body, like the 6 feet, 6 figures. I don't care about all that, but he has to earn, right? I need him to earn, because I don't care about, you know, need a 6-pack. I don't care about the 6 feet, but the 6-figure thing might be more
your point
important.
is
So I'm not going to settle on that.
A standard of money might be different for everything else, it sounds like. But I think what Simon was saying, I don't want to put words in your mouth, Simon says, but it sounded more like there's more to the experiences that women may want that they're not acknowledging by their standards. So if they want all of these different experiences, child rearing, experience of just loving and being in a safe place with people who, you know, love them back and are responsible, trustworthy, that certain standards might be not only unnecessary, but prohibitive. And then you started with our qualifications. That's how I think my British brethren say, you know, degrees and such. We've been taught to rely on those, but those qualifications ain't gonna cut it when it comes to those, again, more emotional and just relational.
You know what, Suzette? Like, it's not only women. Like, men do this. Men do this as well. You know, they do the qualification thing. It's like, and it's based on our premise. It's like we are brought up in certain situations So it's like, this time has happened, right? Where education has had an impact on us, and our parents, black people in particular, will point us towards
education. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. so it's like,
Xavier Black, you're next. We're getting you involved. Finish your point, Simon. Yes.
Sorry, we've just had so much of an emphasis on the female degree, right? Where it's not been that in particular. It's been with black people also, like men. Like, where are we going to be without that degree? Bar the blue collar, right? So, you know, it is what it is. So
I love it. And I want to hear your response, Xavier Black. How are you this evening? Good to see you.
I'm doing okay. Are you able to hear me okay? Or am
you sound great.
Outstanding. So I guess as something that you said a moment ago, this is kind of the direction when you asked the question, or I looked at the question that you initially posed, there were two other questions that I thought that should have came before that question that you posed on, you know, should you lower your standards or keep your standards where they're at? And you just started I guess really expounding on it, on what it is the expectations are, or trying to manage those expectations. So the question I think that comes up first is, why do you really want to get married? Would be my first question. This is coming from a person who believes in black marriage, who I really want to see the black family succeed. And there's a reason why, and there's something that I feel that comes from the black family that you have as far as helping to make the black community stronger. That being said, I think it needs to start with, why do you even want to get married in the first place? And I think a lot of times, one of the things that everybody's been talking about is, I think that a lot of times our standards are off on what it is that we're looking for in thinking about marriage. So we have an idea of a girlfriend, a boyfriend, and we want to whether it's girls want to bust it open, all that other stuff that they talk about, all of that, is that what you're looking for from marriage? What is it that you're looking for from the institution of marriage? And this is coming from a guy who also does mediations. I'm SAPSA certified here in the state of Texas, and I deal with broken marriages. I've been married, divorced myself. So dealing with broken marriages and seeing that is, what is it that you're actually looking for from marriage? And then once you identify that, now you need to start building up, what are your standards? What are your values? What are those things that you're actually looking for, and trying to find somebody that's aligned to it? I heard initially that when you guys started off talking, you guys were talking about a lot of things from the Bible. And one of the things it talks about is not becoming unevenly yoked. And a lot of times in our society right now, everybody is extremely unevenly yoked. And I'm not just talking about from a religious standpoint of Muslim to Christian and vice versa, but I'm saying from the standpoint of looking at it as far as, let me back up. It does definitely include that, because if you have that kind of divided household, you're inviting problems coming in. Yes. But looking at what those expectations are within the family on what it is, why do you want it? One of the things that DL talked about was the hypergamy. Is that something that you're okay with? Is that something that you're looking for? If you're a woman that wants to be the boss chick or whatever, it's like, do you really want to be married, or is it that you just want the wedding?
You know, you just want a man to show up with you at events.
To say that I've been chose. Look, I've been chose. Look at it, right?
My ring girl. Yeah, all of that. Yeah.
So do you actually want the marriage? Because marriage is less about the emotional aspect, and it's more about the commitment. And commitment, you might be angry at him the next day you lovey-dovey. Yeah. And how do you address those conflicts? And there's a lot of things that go in with that. But when you're really looking at it and you're trying to figure out whether or not you even should be married, why do you even want it, right? Is it that you actually want to be a wife, or you just want to be able to say, I've been chose? Do you actually want to be a husband, or do you or you just want to be able to step out? And and I'm not even going to get into whether or not, like, say, if you're a Muslim and you can have multiple wives or whatever, I'm not even getting into that. If that is your agreement, if that's what you guys have decided on, I don't want to sit there and jump in there and tell you guys what you guys are going to do based off of whatever your religious or secular beliefs are. But identifying that and identifying who you're going to be with, I think is extremely important before we can even start to talk about whether or not you should be lowering those standards, because maybe the standards you have and what your expectations are just wrong, just out the gate, they're wrong. And
so I think coming from a mediator, you have wonderful, he's a Texas mediator, y'all. Xavier Black, they tell us, slow down, brother, you got so much to say. They give you fire emojis.
I'm trying to dominate the conversation.
Yeah, Andre, how are you? Good to see you. Yes, I think a lot of people are going back to this standards. we haven't outlined them yet.
Well, you started off out.
I thought I was, but I see it a lot in the chat. So I
Well,
think I'm gonna ask Harrison Family Values to kind of go back into.
Well, yes. I think. Well, the thing is, everybody has different standards. So to outline the standards is one thing. That's why
major culture as our standards. And go ahead.
You know, I think Xavier Black, all his points was valid, which leads me to what I was asking before. When you have standards, but you don't have a clue of what you need to be in relationships, it's always going to fail. So you're able to know what you want, but you're not able to know what somebody else wants or what makes you good for them or not even just for them, but what would make you a good wife or what would make you a good husband. If you can't identify that first, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you shouldn't even be sharing your standards in the first place, because it's all null and void. Because again, you can find, as I said before, you can find somebody that meets those standards, but if you are not the person that you should be in a marriage or relationship, it's going to end anyway.
Yeah, you know, and this is I read a little bit, so like this reminds me of Sun Tzu. Now, I'm not saying that relationships are war, and I'm not calling the other party the enemy. Y'all just give me a little leeway here.
Give us the background for people who don't know that text.
Right. So Sun Tzu is basically the Art of War was written by Sun Tzu, and this was a text written during the warring period in ancient China. That would tell generals and kings how to conduct warfare. This was just the best, and it has been adopted by mostly the business world in the West, and of course our militaries, as a must read when you're talking about conflict, either a war conflict or any like business conflict. And what I'm trying to do here is I'm going to attempt to use some of this text to describe what we're talking about here.
Okay,
and one of the main tenets in the art of war, according to Sun Tzu, is know yourself, know your enemy. If you fight 100 wars, you'll have 100 victories. You cannot be defeated. If you know yourself and you don't know your enemy, it's 50-50. And if you don't know yourself and you don't know your enemy, you will never win. Now, I'm not calling the other parties the enemy, but the message is still there. And that's what I'm hearing when we talk about these standards. How can you truly have a standard if you don't even know yourself? And then when you're trying to vet people, right? Do you truly know that person? So if you truly know that person and you truly know yourself, how can you fail moving forward in that relationship? And then, so I just want to kind of drop that point in there because I'm listening to you and I'm like, yeah, know yourself, know your enemy kind of applies here.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Art of War being dropped. My intellectual brother. Go ahead, Xavier Black.
And I want to just piggyback on that because initially when I came in here, I was looking at the discussion or listening to the discussion between you and Harrison Family Values. And one of the things that he highlighted, he talked about Proverbs 31 and how applying it for the woman who's reading it, she should read the entire thing. One of the other things when you're looking at the Bible, and you're pulling things out of that book as well, like, and it piggybacks on what DL also talked about knowing yourself and knowing your enemy and being able to be successful. And something that we normally don't even apply, and it's one of those things that, and forgive me, I'm not trying to be offensive. I know this is going to be offensive, but it's one of the things I get angry about when I listen to Christians a lot of times is the fact that there's a scripture in the Bible that talks about before you can remove the straw out of your brother's eye, remove the rafter from your own eye first. And in regards to relationships, how I'm applying it, and I'm looking at that from a relationship standpoint, before you can even start talking about what it is you're looking for in a mate, do you even know what it is that you need to work on in yourself first in order to be a good mate for somebody else? And many times you have no idea of what it is that, like you guys talked about bringing things to the table. You have no idea what you bring to the table. It's easy for you to say what somebody else should bring to the table for you. And even when we start talking about things in the category of like looks and how somebody looks, good looks, that's going to last. Like I said, that's not going to last for forever. Good sex, that's not going to last forever as well. I say, and if that's what you're basing your entire relationship on, that relationship is going to fall at some point. I say, because you can, I'm trying not to be, this is your platform. I don't want to sit
there. Bro, you preaching. Simon, I'm ready for you when you're ready. Listen. We keep saying some of the same things, and I want to be okay. Miss Creative. First of all, hey, how you doing, sis? And we're not trying to push people into struggle relationship. Please don't misconstrue. Not saying you. I don't think you're doing that in this comment. But I saw another comment saying, let me pick the comment that I was reading, saying like, are we trying to get Black women into bad relationships or to lower? Okay, here, Chalice Ransom. Why are we trying to convince Black women to lower their standards? Is that what we're doing?
No, we're trying to. I am trying to convince people, not just black people.
Don't over personalize it, because that's not.
Yeah.
We just happen to be black. I'm black. You black. We black. I'm black.
Yeah.
But
I'm more of a caramel, but
my thing is understanding. Do your standards, is it setting you up to find somebody that makes you look good, or is it setting you up to have a solid relationship? That's what we really got to understand. So when we say are your standards keeping you single? All right, it's wordplay. The real question is, are your standards setting you up to have a solid relationship? And then looking at that and say, okay, I have this standard, but this really has nothing to do with having a solid relationship. Let me parking lot that first. Let me identify those things that I need to have as far as standards are concerned to have a solid relationship. So we're not trying to, have black women lower the bar, but question the bar, like question the own bar. There's nothing wrong with questioning your own bar. If you've been single for the last 15 years, maintaining the same standards, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again in hopes to have a different result. So now let's go back and let's think logically about it. Okay. I've had these standards for all these years and I'm still in the same situation. What's wrong with my standards? And start there. We're not saying lower the standards, but
okay. So you're saying look at your outcomes. And if your outcomes are not giving you what you want, which is hopefully a good, healthy, long lasting, mutually beneficial and loving relationship, then question it. But if you're able to find what you're looking for already with your standards, well, we in the wrong stream. That's okay. You could come up here and give advice. But if your outcome is not necessarily what you want, we got to be more open to maybe asking why. And it's not to say people want nobody. I know you didn't mean it. I saw your response being miscreative. I know people not trying to get people in struggle relationships. That's not what we're trying to do. Those hurt my heart. Yeah. When I see what biblically has been called unequally yoked, it's terrible. I've seen girls with the house, the good vehicle, riding good, living good before they meet a man, and take up a man and put in their good house, start using all their resources and bring them down to nothing. They look tired and broken in a less than a year or two. I've seen this happen to women in churches.
Now, I've seen that happen to men as well. I know you mean both.
Please put it in. I'm just thinking about a specific woman. Yeah. So yes.
Well, no, I could. The family court system is full of men who were broken. Good men, good men who were broken because they did not properly. Like if you don't properly vet, again, know yourself, know your enemy. Not to call them enemies, but you know what? In that case, they turned out to be the enemy because they didn't properly vet.
The terrible standards of look good, feel good. And think this is going to be the foundation of a marriage.
Doing it for the gram. Doing it for the gram.
They do it. Oh, yes. And the beautiful pictures. And I'm on vacation with Bay. And oh, my gosh.
Yeah. And that's where a lot of people get their standards from.
Oh, my God. I know people that don't even like each other got some good Instagram pictures on vacay. And I'm like, y'all was on the brink of divorce. Y'all was on the brink of like, we're not talking everybody thing here because we're not. It's so scary because I know them in real life, but the pictures that people see, I'm like, woo-hoo. We was just talking y'all off a ledge like last week. Yeah. But the picture's bad though. And couple goals though, black love though. And it has other people who do not have that yet. Kind of like fantasizing about what doesn't even really exist.
And I deserve this.
But I deserve a man like that. That man don't even want to be with that woman. Yeah. But we caught up on the Denzel from what movie? I can't think of from where, or the Morris Chestnut from what movie? Y'all know Morris was. Or you can fill in the blank. Y'all, I'm dropping the link one more time. I'm gonna go around. Y'all give me feedback because I guess when we say what should be the standards, give me the standards of what should be the standards. Because we're saying there's an overemphasis. People are saying, okay, we got to be attractive. Don't play me. But when we maybe have people have a misunderstanding of what like standards that are, the word might not be realistic. Help me out, Harrison Family Values. What's the word we're looking for? Standards that are.
I think Savior Black wanted to say something.
Go ahead, Savior Black. I'm trying to figure out where do people go from here. Go ahead.
I actually want to comment on Ace Butterfly's comment, but in regards to the standard, I think it's just managing those expectations for what the standards are, and it's not. And I'm piggybacking on what you're talking about. It's not encouraging struggle relationships. I say, and you could even look at it from the standpoint of, because you alluded to friends that you know, but think about it from the perspective of, let's say you find a guy and identifying what your standards are. You might think that you have the perfect standards, and inheritance and family values kind of alluded to it as well. And has all the money, you got all the hypergamy that you're looking for, you got all the Instagram pics that you're looking for, and you don't have to work, you have all these things going on, but he has one little small issue, right? Sometimes he has a bad day at work, he comes in, he likes to have a kick the dog session and stove your head in, right? If you didn't identify that when you were going through that process, and you're saying all these other things were great, and you're looking at it as is that actually a great relationship? So identifying what those standards are, it might be that the valuation on having that peace in your life and not getting your head stoved in might be a little higher than having the Instagram pics, the latest and greatest exotic car and the big house and everything else and a stock that you bought in Maybelline because you need that foundation for all the times you getting your face stoved in, right? So it's one of those situations that you're looking at, and you're identifying what those standards are, and you're identifying what you're looking for. And I kind of want, but I'm gonna save it.
Go ahead, which comment from a Spotify did you want to address?
I like the comment that she had I think it's something that we should think about, and I'm going to tell on myself a little bit here, but she says, as a community, should we have arranged marriages? Would that lead to greater success for Black families? And because when you post that,
how would you respond? Hey, Michelle Denise.
And it's a good question to me, because a lot of times I'll see a lot of marriages that come through, and one of the things I normally never see.
He mediates, guys. He mediates family law, like I'm sure divorces and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and I've never had to mediate or to date, and I've only been doing it for the past 5 years, so it's not like I've been doing it.
But in Texas, just so people have context,
but I've never had to see an arranged marriage. Let me correct that. I've seen one arranged marriage that came through. It was an Arab couple, and that was again but that's something as a
exception.
Right. Yeah, I can't get into the details, but in looking at a situation like that. And I've known a lot of people within arranged marriages, because before the law career, I was an IT project manager in oil and gas, and a lot of the IT people are from India and from and who do have arranged marriages. And I've been to several arranged marriages. They work for a long.
You know what, Dr. Thunder? If he's out here, y'all, I dropped the link. We're gonna drop the link one more time. But he always says that he's like, the two things I can save, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but the Black community. Possibly arranged marriages and abstinence.
So, I used to tell my sons all the time, right? My oldest son didn't take me up on it. I'm hoping that my two youngest sons do. I told them, allow me to arrange your marriages. Please allow me to arrange your marriages. And I would tell them, I would hook you up. I will hook you up. You be helping me. Dad, like you be walking down the aisle fist bumping me. Like, just give me the opportunity. No, but that's a good point. You don't see a lot of arranged marriages. And I think that's because now it's no longer a matter of my desire, but you have families involved that says, okay, this person will be good for you, and here are the reasons why.
Right.
Not necessarily because they make you feel good,
right?
But they're going to make a solid life for you, in this specific area. So I think that.
Listen, I'm not against people have brought this up before.
I was going to piggyback on that when I said I'm going to tell on myself. So me and my sister and I, we were sitting up there one time. We were talking about arranged marriages, and we were laughing and talking about my mom arranging our marriages. And we were like, yeah, she would pick somebody who has really good character and be all about principles, might not be the most attractive person, so you wouldn't want mom arranging it. And then we both sat there and we were talking about it with one another. We started laughing and we looked at each other. It's like, look at us being all shallow. We just identified that our mother would be looking out for a person for us, or arranged for us a person that would have character, or characters that we would find beneficial in our life long term in our marriage relationship, as opposed to just a short term. Hey, I'm trying to hit it and quit it. And we start looking at it like, man, we really shallow, right? And that's why I went back for that question.
People,
am I able? Can I ask Xavier Black a question?
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
If your mother was in charge of being the person that chose your wife, how would you feel about that?
I'd probably still be married. That's one thing. How would I feel about it at the time? I say if it was normalized, and I guess we're dealing with a hypothetical. If it's normalized in society, and you know that that's what's going to happen, because you have a lot of people in Dagestan.
No, your particular situation. If your mother was in charge of the person that you was potentially going to be married to and spend the rest of your life with, you're going to be cool with that.
If you're asking me right now versus then, not
the past. Like now, like say, okay,
like now, I'll be fine.
You want to marry SuzetteSpeaks, right? You bring SuzetteSpeaks to your mother's house,
right?
Mm-hmm. Lord God, how does that go?
sorry, Suzette, right? All of a sudden, like your mother has the decision. Although, like you may be in love, you may have done the whole prom thing, you may have gone through the whole, initiation thing, you may have like spent a whole time trying to sort of bounce, in your relationship, and you built yourself up to that, and now you're giving the decision over to your mother, and you're going, okay, mother.
Okay, I'm glad.
What do you think? What do you think?
why I said that explicitly for you right now. So when I married my ex-wife, my mother, my father, my brother, and everybody around my friends and family all told me don't do it. When they met her and they talked to her, they all recognized don't. And
pause, please. Because we're gonna help somebody right now. So, wow. Wow. There's no judgment of you, brother. I don't know you like that. So what possesses a man to still marry a woman when his whole family tell him no? Just answer that for me. What about her was like, but I gotta have it?
It goes back to what Simon Hector was talking about. I was all in love. I was emotionally invested. I ignored all of the red flags that I seen. I didn't see the red flags around me. She didn't show them. For my family, she did. And everybody else was sitting there, and I'm like how you listen to a lot of these young girls that go like, oh, but I love him. No, that was me. I was that dumb dude going, oh, but you guys don't know. She's not like that though, right?
Your first real girlfriend?
No.
Okay. I'm not. It happens. It happens, bro. I mean, hey, shout out to you for stepping up and even telling it. But I've been through it too, bro. I didn't get married though.
But I did the whole marriage thing. I
don't mean it in any judgment. I just want to see how we can wake up our loved ones or ourselves if we're ever in this. Was there anything someone who could have said to you to save you?
No. And this is where I go back to the arranged marriage thing, because I had a cousin who did something very similar, and I told those family members, because they were like, well, can he see it? And I told him, I said, he doesn't see it. I said, you see it. I said, and I see it. I said, he's not seeing it. His nose is all open. He's not seeing it. I said, he's emotionally vested. I've seen young women do this. I've seen young men do it. And I can't, and I'm telling you, I've done it. So I can't sit there and say like, oh no, I would never do that. I've done it. I say, and I've done it. And this is telling on myself a little more. I've done it after. And I was going to tell you about this on my red pill moment on your Saturday show.
Well, you want to say for Saturday, but go ahead.
It's a little prelude to it. I had cousins who, when they gave me that red pill moment on understanding how women work, who, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, that were pimps, right? And in pimping, and understanding the mindset of women and helped me along growing up. So it wasn't like I was ignorant as to how women function.
So they gave you literal pimp knowledge.
I still screwed up. So going back to the question he asked, it's like, how would I feel when my mother has in hindsight? Absolutely, I would go along with it. If you're asking me then, that's why I asked him to give me because it's real. It's a realistic question. I could see from.
And again, bravery, transparency. Thank you for sharing.
It's not bravery. It's just transparency.
It is brave, because everybody can't say their nose was wide open and say it in front of other people. It's a lot of embarrassed people. Look at who they are now. And I've met them. I've met chiropractors, that they looking back at, and that's their baby mama. You can't get away from that. I'm meeting you, and then that's your baby mama. Oh, she's crazy. I didn't know she was crazy when I got her, but you still got that woman pregnant, and that will forever reflect on you, like it or not. And it could have been just what you're talking about. And that's why I'm so curious about it. Not in a, like, love is a funny thing. A man and a woman is a funny thing. And I've seen women also, girlfriends of mine, homegirls of mine, where I'm like, dang, I know what's coming, but you can't wake her up from it. And maybe that's just what it is, that deep attraction that is, it is a primal kind of thing. I don't know how to explain it. Go ahead, DL.
I would say this, and I'm not speaking for Brother Black, I'm speaking for me. That Disney fairy tale thing that we talk about so much in the manosphere world on the other side of the internet, it's real and it's strong. It is strong. It's as strong as the dark side of the Force. You know what I mean? You could be a young Jedi and wind up Darth Vader messing around with that. But I'm trying to make light of it, but it is a very, very, very strong thing. And you can get caught up in it. I don't care how RP you are. I don't care what, you know what I mean? It can happen. And when it does happen, you're tied to your family is that last line of defense. Yeah. And if you don't listen to them, then it's a wrap.
Yeah. That's it. And the reason why I don't view it as bravery, because as a lot of times, one of the things, for me at least, in doing the mediations, there's certain things that you might think, I used to think that, oh, this was only within my family. And then all of a sudden you start doing it and you see in more families and you see these trends. And so as me talking about it and telling it here's something that happened to me, it might help somebody else out. Might not. But at least they can sit there and look at it and be like, I was told. It's kind of like when you read the Bible and it gives you all these things on things that happen, or all these accounts for things that happened in there. You can look at it like, but that'll never happen to me, right? Like what Peter talking about with Jesus, like everybody else will leave you, Lord, but that'll never happen to me. And that's a lot of us, right? It's talking about what's going on in the whole association of the congregation going on everybody's suffering those things. And sometimes we think it's just us and we're embarrassed by it. And for me, it's not even that embarrassing. I did it.
Right.
I'll never do it again. Yeah. But it's like it's a learning lesson. Now, if I do it again,
I'm appreciative of that. And I think you save some of it for Saturday. Saturday, we're going to do an open chat. They talk about plot twist. The baby daddy is just as crazy.
True. I love it. But brother Harrison, what are your thoughts on that narrative, that Disney fairy tale?
Before you do, let me just read a couple more chat. Thank you so much, everybody who's rocking in this conversation, getting deep. Harrison, family values. I know you got to leave. You got a whole family. So if you need to drop out, we'll keep the conversation going. Thank you for staying this much time to us. Dara said she didn't get a notification. Please hit the notification bell. Thank you so much. We're at 75 likes. I know well over 100 people have already watched this. So please go ahead and hit the like button and make a comment or something so we can get more people watching the stream. Share it if you can. It's a deep lust. Elders that are married pulled me back from, I think, the fantasy marriage. I think, I hear you. I hear you. People are asking me what my standards are. Maybe I'll talk about it a little bit. Go ahead now. You were going to ask Harrison Family Values to respond to. Thank you again, Xavier Black, for what you shared.
Well, I was going to ask Brother Harrison, and now that TTO put that up there, something along those lines. Like, how would you handle that with your sons? If one of your sons got lost in the headlights and was really stuck on like that Disney fairy tale with someone who the family felt, who you felt as the head of the family, this is not good for my son. How would you handle that?
Well, two ways. There's sort of like preemptive. I need to really teach him. Well, first, I've hoped that I have already taught him what he needs to look for in a good woman. That's the first thing. Second, I hope that he applies those lessons. But if he doesn't, I have to sort of point out, remember I taught you about this?
Yeah.
She's doing it right now. But here's the thing, though. Because I teach my sons to be men, let's say he chooses to marry her. Yeah. Right? Now he's going to be held accountable to that. Now you need to be the best husband you can be.
Yeah.
So it'll be,
it's tough because I know people that almost got God. Good men too. Good men. Mm-hmm. Good men. Yeah. And I'm like, they can't see the devil that they with. And it's hard to explain. They gonna get mad at me if I call her devil because I could see her. Yeah. Well, women can see women. Men can see men. It's true. We can see the other person's intention, their heart more so than the person that's like, oh my gosh, in love.
But we know in that sense to happen. That happens when people date and vet in isolation. So we tend to think, I'm going to date this person. I don't want anybody else in my business. All right. Good. Yeah. So that nobody has anything negative to say. But the constructive, how people get built up is constructive criticism. Not one person has ever become successful by not having anybody criticizing what they're doing. Not one relationship has become successful without somebody on the outside criticizing what the other two people are doing. So we want to date in isolation. I firmly believe in the benefits. Now, there's cons also, but there are benefits of when two people are vetting and dating each other, that it's important for family and close friends to be a part of that process as well, because they will highlight certain things that you overlook, and you got to be able to trust those people in your life. Because again, I was in the same situation, Sylvia Black, and I was in isolation, dated in isolation. That's dangerous, because now it's easier for you to get that be stuck in that fairy tale euphoria a stage of a relationship, go out, buy a ring, propose, get married, and 2 months later, your house is on fire because so it's important that when you date and you vet, include your family, because essentially she's going to be, or he's going to be, part of your family in the first place. All right, you got to bring
Don't
people
let
involved.
other people isolate you from your family.
Exactly. It's important.
Yes, Simon Hectic dropped off. I'm sorry. I see you. Thank you for coming up. Last call for the panel. We getting deep, y'all. Thank y'all for being here. You wanted to respond, Savior Black?
No, I was just gonna say. So, just piggybacking on that, because I appreciate that thought process, because a lot of times what happened, like you mentioned, is like, and I told this to my daughters, and my middle daughter, she's married now, got grandparent now, but one of those situations, and looking at it, is when you are doing that dating in isolation, and I used to always tell them, it's like, be careful, because you don't want to become emotionally invested, because once you're emotionally invested, everybody else can start pointing it out to you. These are those issues. This is what you need to look at. This is, and like you said, remember when we talked about this, and these are some values you need to look at. This is, do you see this happening now? Well, so once you're there and your nose all open, is next
it's a wrap. They got you.
Yeah, the emotional part.
And the prayer warriors got to start praying for you at that point.
And the only thing you can do as a father at that point, like what you're talking about, I think back to in the Bible, it talks about the prodigal son. He went through this whole process of making sure he had an inheritance for his son. He got him all set up. He got it lined out for his boys. He knew that everything, and he's like, I want it now. Well, what do you want it for? Hookers and blow, pops. Hookers and blow. And it's like, nah, you don't want to do that. Yeah, that's what I want it for. So he took it, and that's exactly what he did. He blew it all on hookers and blow, pretty much, right? Not literally, but
in the Bible, guys. This is what he's talking about, the prodigal son.
Yeah. And then and in that analogy, or the parable that was provided, at the end, he had to come to his senses. And as a father or as a parent, the only thing you can do is you can be there for him on the other side. It's like, I'm not going to be there. I'm not holding your hands through the hookers and blow situation, but I can be there for you on the back end. When you come out of it, like I've been through it. Like I said, I had a cousin. When he came out of it, everybody in the family is like, you embrace him, and let's get you straight, and let's get you right back on where you need to go.
You love them just the same, and life still goes on. Some people get much more impact than others, that they have to live with. But you can't, I told you so them, and you can't, shun them and all this, because I really didn't see. I realized that love is such a powerful thing.
I got a question for the panel and Brother Harrison.
Yes, go ahead. I see you in the back, Bernard. Go ahead.
Is it easier to lower your standards the younger you are and tougher as you age?
Good question.
I don't know if I can answer that, because I guess that would be like, that's tough.
Easier.
Here's the thing. Do 20-something-year-olds really have standards?
Good question.
You gotta check the Instagram. If you got access to a jet, you own. That's the standard.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
I'm just curious.
I wonder, because I think Ace, you put it so beautifully. I think she wrote, "We're not telling people to settle, but you might have to shift." Or let me find the exact quote. It was well written. While I find that, welcome Bernard. Bernard asks, how are you?
How you guys doing? I don't even know if I am worthy to be up here with this panel.
Are you kidding me?
But I'm coming from all of you guys. I'm coming from 20 plus years of doing weddings, taking pictures and videos. $25,000. 2 months later, I see him at another wedding. How y'all doing? Oh, we broke up.
For real? Seriously?
All of y'all put all your hands up. I can count that many times out of 20 plus years. Okay, one table we sitting at. One for men. You know how? Okay, Harrison.
First of all, shout out to you and your background, Bernard.
You see that, right?
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. But I think a lot of you guys might. But you know how pastors and you know how lawyers might talk in the background. You know, whatever job you're in. So me and some photographers are sitting shooting in the background, and the photography story of the year here was they wait till they get to the reception, and then the groom comes up. He goes, I'm glad y'all enjoyed the wedding. Everything was fine, but I'm going to continue to let my wife and my best man to continue to do what they were doing behind my back. I can't make this up.
No,
I'm not making this up. I done seen stuff that y'all just wouldn't believe.
No,
and I'm like,
no. At the wedding?
At the reception. He went through the whole thing.
No.
They went through the whole thing. But here's my thing. Going back to what y'all were talking about earlier.
How old were these people?
Oh, they were like in late 20s, pushing 30. And the wedding was probably about 30 grand. I've seen this over and over again.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it.
And going back to what you guys were talking about earlier, because I like to think before I talk. I think what a lot of, not you, Suzette, and not my buddy right here in the green shirt. What's your name? DLC. I'm not saying that, but Harrison Family Values, and some of you guys will agree. I think a lot of people like to be chaste and don't want to get married, but they say they want to get married.
Mm-hmm. They want the wedding.
That's exactly.
They want the wedding, but sometimes they just like the chase. Like, oh, I know he wants me. I know she wants me.
Or I just want to be desired.
And let me see what I can get out of them.
There you go. So it's like you end up in that you end up where you should be is what they call the periaqueductal gray, the matter in your brain where it shows it's a defense mechanism, right? But they don't stay there because it goes back to what you guys were saying, and your nose is open. And don't mess around and be the guy who never had that one, and then he finds that one girl that he knew he could never get.
Oh, nose open.
He gone.
Yeah,
I mean, I can see that,
gone. I've seen it.
And there's nothing his boys can tell him.
Nothing. And then you're
trying
to go to a mediator. Then you're trying to go to Harrison Family, and then you end up with Suzette for the divorce. Come on,
then we coming out here trying to build back families.
And DL Saint looking like, bruh,
I told you.
You with all three of them, and me and DL Saint looking up at all three of y'all like, hey, I didn't hear you with Suzette. Hey, talk about
this is heavy, guys.
But so the other thing is, as you get older, I do think it's harder because most of my brothers up here, most men, we hit our plateau, but we get our financials straight by the time you mid 40s and hitting 50. You and your career pretty good. Yes. So now you need to go back to Suzette and talk to Harrison Family Values and be like, we need to talk about a prenup. Going back to my cousin.
Then they say, remember you didn't want me in high school?
Back then they didn't want me. You got that bike jumping.
Going back to a family member in my family, I'm not going to say, but he just got out of it, luckily, and he came back home here in the Virginia Beach area to buy his apartment building for $6 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now he's about to become the vice president of the second largest credit union in the United States.
What? Yeah. People switch up.
Luckily, while he was married, he had a prenup. So he's single now, and is like he just retired from the military next month, special forces. He got that retirement. He got his assets. He's got his stocks. He's got multiple properties. Sometimes I go look at him, and so then you got brothers like him because I know him personally. It's like he's like, no, I got too much.
Well, I got stuff to lose too. Yeah. We both got to have,
right? He's like, I got too much to lose. So to help,
no, I understand that. I understand that, and I think crazy. It's a whole other conversation around that with standards.
Exactly.
But Ace, shout out to you. Thank you, Bernard. Wonderful insights. There is a difference in changing your standards and settling. Sometimes your needs change or should change. I guess I would add.
Yeah. But
I want to ask another
Go
question.
ahead, Savior Black, and then Harrison Family Values. Go ahead.
I've done weddings at one point. I used to do photography as well. But I was going to ask you, did you actually deliver those photos? Because I've had one where it was so quick that by the time I finished the edits and I was ready to post for delivery for them to take a look, they were done.
Was already broken up before you was ready to post the wedding pictures?
No, that's what I want to ask you. Did he?
No, I haven't done that. And when I do photo. I'm gonna have to bring them in here to show people. But I do photo books.
Okay.
And I tell a story. So I do the engagement shots.
Mm-hmm.
Then I do the before shots of the wedding, and then I do the ceremony. Then I try to tell a story. So I tell every couple, you should be able to look at this book and know why you got married.
Right.
That was my ministry.
Sweet.
That was my ministry. Or if I edit a video, I'm like, you should be able
so
to
when you arguing,
you know what?
You can open this right here and be like, babe, remember when we
I mean
it's important. Pretty awesome, JM. Let me just throw this in. Says unpopular opinion. It may take several people to meet your standards. Learning to compartmentalize might be the solution. Pretty awesome.
Hey, we'll address that on that hypergamy show because that's definitely going to be in there.
We'll check every box.
And if I can touch
your opinion, thank you, sis. Appreciate it. I appreciate it. Hey, we open to all.
So
thank you, Better Gents Podcast. First time seeing your name. Thank you for being here and for your contribution. Appreciate that. Shout out to Suzette and the panel.
Do we drop it?
People, thank you.
All of y'all. All of you guys.
Appreciate you so much. So as we look to hopeful solutions, always want to leave with some takeaways.
Yeah.
And I think there are going to be people like, nah, I'm never going to change. Yeah, you know, I want what I want, I deserve. And I should actually see what the poll results are for this stream. Please get the likes up, guys. Hit the like button as you come in. We've had such great discussion. If you like it, support it. Hit the like button. It's free. Thank you.
I think Brother Harrison has something for you, Susan.
But go ahead, Brother Harrison.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, but about the standards, like, again, I'm not saying, and I would never say that having standards is a bad thing. You know, we all have standards. We work at jobs that tell us that we must meet certain standards and expectations for us to perform in a specific job. Standards aren't bad. Again, are you ready to be the person so that when you find the person who has those standards, that you would be that person with them? And if I can be a little bit transparent, in 2012, I had worked at a church full time. I was an assistant pastor, and after my ex-wife left, the church asked for my resignation, and I had no experience doing anything else but ministry for the past 10 years. I got married when I was 19. She left when I was 29, and after the divorce was final, I had nowhere to go. And there's not a church on the planet that's going to hire a newly divorced single father, because I had the kids, so I had custody of the kids. Single father, 3 kids, to run any church or any ministry, right? So I was almost homeless, jobless, almost homeless, right? I was not there, right? And I, at that point, and this is for the men, I at that point knew that I wasn't in a position to date. I was aware that I am not in a place where I can meet anybody's standards if they had standards. So let me build myself up to be where I need to be for myself and my family, so I can put myself in a position to be a provider for a woman when I got married. Okay. Fast forward, 10 years. I make good money doing what I love. And I have a beautiful wife who herself had standards. And one of those standards, I didn't necessarily meet, but she realized, okay, Andre has all the qualities that would be in a good man. So
give me some examples. All the standards, like what?
I gotta let my wife tell it.
The last person. No, come on now. We got to give the people practical application.
That's some facts right there, bro. I feel you on that.
Yeah, and I think well, first off, my relationship with God is practical and real. Like it's not mystical. It's I read the Bible. I try to apply what I read, and try to be as consistent as I can be. I think that's one of the things. But again, I had to be realistic from a man's point of view. I am not going to be of service to my family if I'm not in a place financially to take care of them. Okay, I got to be honest there. So for me, I'm going to build myself up so that I can be of service to my family. But then now, if a woman has specific standards, and my wife realized that, okay, he has what I need, so that I can be happy. I could have a happy life and be happy in this relationship. And we came together, we talked about it, and we agreed. Not only do we fit together, we realized that we're compatible. So we got married, and we're doing well. So the practicality, the application is, guys, if you guys want to have standards, by all means, have standards. Okay, that's all good, but make sure that those standards are the foundational pieces of those standards will help you have a positive and a great relationship, a lasting, flourishing relationship, and it's not based on vanity and what the world tells you should be looking for in a mate.
You're mute. You're mute.
Oh, you're muted.
I'm like, preacher. I need some practical.
Yeah.
So you.
Okay. So I'll give you a practical.
You can tell me what you saw in her as your standard, please.
Hmm?
If you don't want to speak for her, what did you see as suitable standards for yourself? Give me a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2.
Well, she understood what she wanted to be as a wife. She knew that. Like, she knew what a wife was, what she wanted to be as a wife, and what she wanted to do for her family as a wife. And I got to be honest, that was attractive. Like, because I'm gonna be honest, I have never met anyone who came out and said, well, I want to be this and this and this as a wife.
Like what? What's the game?
Can some things be personal?
Okay.
Can some things. This. No. Like, just she. I don't have to. I come home, right? I come home to a hot cooked meal. She doesn't work, and she doesn't have to work. She doesn't work. If she wants to work, she's more than welcome to. She just doesn't have to. But I come home to a nice hot cooked meal. She.
Is that a euphemism?
No, let's just hit me out.
Okay. Okay, let me make sure I understand.
I'd have been happy with just a sandwich. He get the whole meal. That's what's up.
Yeah. I value her opinion, right? And she listens to me and she lets me lead. We're still in the very beginning. We got married. We've been married like a year and a half.
Is it her second marriage as well?
No, she's never been married before, never had kids. And that's another thing. I came into the marriage with 3 kids and grandkids.
Wow.
Young
gal?
Huh?
Young gal?
No, we're about the same age.
Oh, okay, just asking.
Yeah, we're the same age. Yeah, and if you guys go on my
Kosher clinician in the back, Kosher, you the last. The panel is closed. Kosher is the last person. Interesting.
Yeah,
interesting.
And again, like, so, she
is she
understood.
Foxy Brown Fine?
Go on my YouTube channel, and you guys will see pictures in the community tab.
Ladies, you know what time it is.
No, she's beautiful. She's beautiful.
Oh, okay, that's what we're doing. Okay,
I'm smitten. But I didn't marry her because I was smitten, though.
Okay,
let's just make that clear.
But that was okay though.
Yeah, initial attraction. But again, the foundation really has to be, what characters what characteristics, yes, that I need to have in this person. Like, what would make me a good husband? What will make you, Suzette, a good wife? Start from there and then build up your standards from there, because we need to have self-accountability and standards for ourselves before we can expect somebody else to meet our standards.
But Brother Harrison, would it be fair to say, and you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but would it be fair to say that possibly your wife, your beautiful wife, did lower her standards maybe on a couple bullet points when it came to y'all relationship?
Absolutely. I'm a 42-year-old man with 3 kids and grandkids. Somebody who never had kids, never been married somebody with 3 kids, grandkids. Yeah, she had to have.
And she got a good man.
I would say so.
And I know mine. And I know mine did, because after the date, the first date, my wife pulls up to this house. I'm like, "Who, this your dad's house?" She's like, "No, it's mine. I built it from the ground up.
Yeah,
by myself, no kids." And I'm like him. I came with 2 kids.
Wow.
And she was like, "I can see us growing," and she has not been disappointed yet. But yeah, I know how you feel, brother. But I had to have my stuff in order. You just couldn't come
Dara
back.
say, I don't ask for much. Can God just send me a husband already? But then Dara, I see Dara TV. Welcome, Dara Sherry TV. I see you
Dara
also.
said
She's no settling. I don't care how old you are. So it's kind of like
she's her. Yeah, that's one of my sisters. Like we have conversations.
Oh, you know
about
her
this
in
often.
real life. Okay.
So we
so
have
is she being sarcastic there, or
no? She's not. No, she's not. She is dead
keeping
serious.
it 100.
Dead serious.
Can you send me a husband, but he gotta be 6 to the 6 to the. Oh boy. We preaching. We doing some work. Hopefully, we were trying to get to solutions based. How are you, the closure clinician? Nice to see you.
What's going on, young lady? I wanted to take the opportunity to show you some love, man. You know,
it's been a minute. We both been busy. I know you're working late tonight. Appreciate you coming over.
Yeah. Like that song said, on the night shift. You know, it's got back from the office.
Exactly.
And but I think this conversation is very interesting. Hold tight. Let me plug in my
y'all please check out his channel. The Culture Clinician does some great. You've been doing some work, sir. Great guests, great subject matter. I'm team replay. You know, we both kind of like just busy, but you have some great content coming through, provoking thought in our community. So what are your thoughts tonight?
Well, I think these questions, or the question that you're more or less trying to pose to the audience, is a very not only good question, but I think the question is germane to the greater evolution of human relationships. I would say this succinctly, Suzette. I don't think that men should augment or change their standards if those standards are not based in superficiality. But if those standards are based in something that can be germane to long-term outcomes that's going to benefit that man as it relates to his legacy, then you can augment your standards. See, watch this. Human beings go through an evolution based on what's called the psychosocial stages of development. And what you thought was more or less perfunctory in your younger years, it's not perfunctory as we get older. You know, Erickson talked about those in their 30s and 40s, or late 30s and 40s. He called it generavity versus stagnation. So as you get into your late 30s to your early 40s, you'll start to think more about legacy. Generavity says, am I living my life based on my own terms, my own dictates, and my own standards? But stagnation is more or less predicated on what we call an existentialist crisis. And so if you realize that you're not living your life based on your own expectations, then you have to augment those standards if those standards, Suzette, are not more or less predicated on superficiality. But if your standards are more or less
so deep. Let me just break it down. I understand what you mean.
I need my dictionary.
He's brilliant.
And he's got that deep radio voice too.
It is like the perfunctory. Listen, let me just tell you what I gather.
You cannot miss Isaac Hayes while he's here, okay?
No.
You cannot miss him. That's it right there.
Well, listen, man. You know,
that's a breakdown because everybody ain't got the level of vocab, okay? But I know what you're saying.
Isaac Hayes said, I stand accused, man. I stand accused.
The beauty of what he's saying, guys, is that, like, for example, Rose, nice to see you. Some women think the basics like cooking and cleaning is not important anymore, but it's still important. So perfunctory, meaning needed or required for, changes is what I heard you say. What is needed in a 25-year-old's life is definitely different from a 35-year-old's life, which is definitely different from a 45-year-old's life. So we're only predicating, if we're only shooting for those things that are literally going to change with 10, 20, 30-year intervals. I know we don't think that far ahead in our futures, but we should. So the things that are fleeting, that are, have limited impact, we can't focus on those. We have to, as he's saying, develop a set of standards or a rubric that has kind of longevity to it and that will evolve, honestly, because you don't even know what you're going to need at 50. You don't even know if you're 25, if you're 30, if you're 40, what you're going to need. So we got to be careful of using limited, short-lived criteria for hopefully what we're trying to make long lasting. That's the main gist of what I'm getting from the Culture Clinician. I'm trying to break it all the way down for y'all.
Right. No, I think you're doing a great job. You know, the Edicts of Theology says that who can find a virtuous woman? I think
we read Proverbs 31. We read it.
Right. You know, I'm just hearing this, but you know, virtuosity supersedes the fading annals of beauty. You know, beauty is powerful in your younger years, but as you get older, don't get it twisted. Men still are hardwired, in my opinion, genetically to want youthfulness, beauty, chastity, and also, I got a very kind spirit. I don't think that ever goes away, but I think men are willing to have negotiables. But I think one of the things that women do to sabotage their future, they always say, I'm not settling. But you got to ask yourself the question, what do you deem that you're settling for? Because one of the greatest indictments in modern women, they tend to more or less assume, Suzette, that the relationship symmetry of a man is synonymous to the relationship symmetry of a woman. And it's not. We're not congruent as it relates to relationship needs and outcomes. Women think that men come into relationships expecting, if I make 100,000, he got to make 100,000. But men are not necessarily moved by how much money you make. We're moved by how feminine, kind, how loyal you are. I'm going to do a show with Security Boss Saturday called Your Loyalty is His Royalty. And so I think a lot of time our women get it confused and get it twisted, Suzette, about what men want in relationships. But women say, I'm settling. Well, if you ask the man that's old school, he's rigid, he's hardwired to say what he wants, that man might think that he's settling. Because you might say, I look a certain way, but then that man might say, are you a woman of chastity? Are you a woman of kindness? Are you a woman of virtue? Are you a woman of vision? Are you a woman that can help me meet my greatest outcomes as a man? If that woman cannot answer that question succinctly, Suzette, then that woman is not ready to raise up to the mantle of being a wife. A lot of women are not wife ready. They're not wife ready. And many are not wife worthy. But many come into the relationship, Suzette, with a more or less superficial or more or less presumed virtue that they have, but it never exists. It exists in their head, but it's never materialized in the relationship.
Hold on, Coach. Let me get BTB been waiting. Coach Commission coming with the fire. Are y'all ready for it though? You talking about y'all ain't marriage ready, worthy, nothing. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Let me get BTB. Right. He's been waiting so patiently. BTB, what are your thoughts on either what Coach Clinician has just shared or what the subject matter is tonight? How you doing, first of all?
I'm doing well, Suzette. Suzette, how you gonna put me after my Leo brother after he done said perfunctory? Like, I'm like, you know what? I'm like, whoa. I'm gonna start reading some more books. I'm like, I gotta come here.
Exactly.
Words I don't know.
I have a thesaurus. Right, so I have a thesaurus tab open right now. What words mean?
I gotta read the Oxford, and then I gotta read Urban. All right, so overall, I think that I like to compare a lot of things, especially when you're talking about relationships to corporate and working in a work environment. So whenever you talk about having standards, I think that everybody should have standards, and as long as they're realistic standards. Based off of two different things, right? So let me give you an example. When you are, in this case, trying to get a mate, somebody who is single trying to get into a relationship, same thing for if you are somebody who is looking for a new job. Well, you can go out there and test the waters, right? By seeing what the market is looking for. So your market value is what the market is selling. Like, okay, you know what? Are you in shape in order to do this job, right? Do you have the prerequisite skills? Coach Clinician just brought up, I think it was Coach Clinician. He was talking about like a home cooked meal. I know Harrison Family Values also talking about how home cooked meal is also one of those things that he was like, hey, you know what? That's a good skill. A lot of men like.
I haven't had that in years, so for me, it was
exactly. And see, that's what I'm saying. Like, as far as the market value, not a lot of people are actually doing that, but it's something that you would want somebody to do. If even though you know how to probably cook already by yourself, but having somebody else that you can join in on with, that also brings up your market value. And then your other value is your personable value. Like, how do I see you? So if you are looking for a job and then your current job is not trying to get you up to a specific salary, right? So you're looking for another salary that you are to be able to progress within life. So when you're looking for another person to go on with life with, you're trying to progress within life, somebody who can help you out with, where maybe, I know you said that you have kids, you can help you out with your kids, somebody who, you can get married to, be able to help you within, taking care of a household. So you have your market and your personable value that really does say that, hey, you need to know what your worth is. You should have standards for yourself, and you should be confident in yourself as well. a lot of people lack confidence in themselves, and they settle for less than what they are worth. Right. So you will pretty much, if you will stand for yourself, you will stand for nothing. And you'll just let anybody run all over you if you do not at least come up with some sort of standards. So I know Suzette just kind of
I will let Brother Harrison
disappeared.
jump in. I think he's going to leave shortly. I will let Brother Harrison get his final thoughts in.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. I think Suzette, she stepped out.
Yes.
All right. Yeah. So I appreciate all the input, brothers, and even adding to the conversation. This is one of those like really deep conversations, extremely nuanced. People have very different views. Some align, some don't. But this is, I think, conversations like this must be had, especially in our community,
Right.
because I think, in at the core, we really want to see Black families flourish. And for that to happen, we have to have open, honest conversations, even if it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable, even if it's going to be a little bit offensive, even if we have to ask questions like, okay, you have these expectations of me, but what do you bring to the table? We got to have honest conversations, and having standards, again, is not a bad thing. We don't want to, I don't want to come off saying standards is a bad thing. But I will stand by this. If you have standards that you expect somebody else to meet, you better know what you bring to the table. Otherwise, you can find somebody that meet those standards, and you will find out that you're not what they wanted, and you're going to end up in being alone once again. So,
can you give
and
yourself
also
a hand, brother, with your sound machine? Can you? I'll
give myself a.
There you go, Dr. Marco, for the red folks out there. Yo, this is the SuzetteSpeaks show, man. Suzette had to step away for a moment. We did not take over. We did not take over.
Yeah, we promised we didn't take over. We did. Let me look into it.
And brother, how can they find you out there, Brother Harrison? How can they find you?
A couple ways. My YouTube channel is called Harrison Family Values. I really target 4 things: faith, family, fatherhood, and manhood. I may, go off everything, even if it seems like I'm going off topic, is going to align with one of those things. And I have an Instagram at Andre_D_Harrison. That Instagram is pretty personal. I have my family and things on there, so you guys can get to know who I am through my Instagram. If you guys ever want some virtual marriage and family coaching and counseling, you can go to Togetherness Coaching. That's TWOGETHERNESS coaching.com, and you'll be able to get more information about how I help families there. And I really appreciate you, Suzette, for allowing me to come onto your platform. I've watched you since I think your first live, and I remember commenting to you and us having like a really quick conversation about how your channel is going to blow up. Like your content is extremely on point, and your channel is going to blow up. So I've had a chance to really watch your channel grow, and I am privileged to be on this platform today with you and being invited on here. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Of course. I know you have an actual family and lots to do. Thank you, DL and y'all. My battery died on my computer, so I had to go run and find my laptop. But you guys always have my back. So I'm grateful. We'll keep it probably another 15 minutes or so. But Harrison Family Values, shout out to you. Thank you so much.
Brother, be good.
And you're welcome at any time.
Brother Harrison, are heathen like me welcome on your page? Can a heathen like me come over and get a little
Absolutely.
Right,
always.
All right. You see me there. I got you.
All right, cool.
Hey, Brother Harrison, I'm gonna reach out to you, man. I would love to show with you at some point.
Black too. Y'all have so much synergy.
Say we're actually all the brothers, man. I like your message, a message of faith and hope. And it's sad that that how you were treated by the clergy, but I think our story is parallel to some degree. So I would love to have a conversation with you at some point.
Absolutely. Amen.
So I'll reach out to you, brother.
All right.
Definitely.
Good night, fellas. And thank you.
Good night.
Listen, good night, Harrison Family Values. Thank you again. Andrew, you cannot be coming up. I told y'all the panel is closed. Andrew in the dark. Andrew, where are you? I said the panel
don't ask questions you don't want the answers to.
Hey, boy.
Andrew look like he in a cave.
We trying to be nice to you, but boy, oh boy. You know I'm a comedian, girl. Don't be saying stuff like that.
Yeah. Hey, look, me and DL gonna go back and forth. I'll be like, your turn, bro. Go ahead, get him. All right, my turn.
With love is closed. And we gonna go hard with these gentlemen that y'all see up here. I was wondering if the ladies, you got. I'm gonna try to set up some ladies panels because my ladies, I don't see you as much. Come up, and that's okay. I see you busy in the chat. Shout out to Ebony X. Shout out to Ace Butterfly, the Miss Creative. All my ladies, I see y'all, and you guys are wonderfully, commenting. Dana, thank you in the chat, as well as the last good man in Jersey. If you want to come up, not tonight, Saturday. Men and women, everybody's welcome. I want to make sure I say that. So Saturday's show is called My First Red Pill Awareness. Right, my first red pill experience, I think is what I called it. So I know what mine was, and I feel like I'm waking up other people all the time, and it makes me nervous when I do it because it kind of affected me in a big way. So I'm going to make that an open chat. So get ready for Saturday, 12 noon, guys, Eastern. We're going to talk about what red pill awareness is. And red pill awareness himself may or may not. He said it, his schedule is kind of weird, family life and things, but it's all good. I'm still going to have the conversation. And then Tuesday, for sure. I don't know if I'm going to be live Monday. I have another engagement, but Tuesday for sure, me and DL going to do some work. The truth about hypergamy. If you don't know what that is, come check us out Tuesday, 7 p.m. All right. So we got some good shows coming up. I might use Monday to talk to Patreon only. That kind of thing. So
I promise to put on a proper shirt for this show, Suzette. I promise I'll put on a proper shirt.
You're so funny. Well, you will be schooling us on hypergamy. I can't wait to talk about it because I really wasn't as like the concept. Yes, I understand. Okay. But the depth of where the origins are and how it manifests today is really going to be interesting, guys. So I hope you guys are interested in the topics we're choosing. And then we'll come back and tell you what we got after that. So I'm doing a series after that. Shout out to the series. DL knows what it is. I won't tell anybody else, but we're gonna have some good series after that because some of us do need a little red pill in our lives. Help us all, God. All right. Talking about dating and standards. BTB was like, Suzette disappeared. Where were I thought my computer was plugged in this whole time. It wasn't plugged in. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Actually, I think you had a question for the
panel.
For the actually in the title. I didn't even answer the question in the title.
Yes, and everybody's saying no one has outlined their standards. Even Harrison Family Values didn't want to say what he saw in his wife and like what she saw in him. So go ahead, BTB. Where you want to pick up?
Yeah, so the question I believe is, are your standards keeping you single? I think that's so I think that like I said in the beginning, I think that if you have realistic standards, then no. As long as it's like something like, okay, I'm not going to tolerate somebody mistreating me or something, something like that, or being able to have a good work ethic. I think that those standards are not keeping you single, right? There are a lot of people who do have these qualities that are pretty much base level. Now, when you have an unrealistic standards, and that's a whole another thing.
Oh, this what you was getting at that I thought you was going to get in trouble for. So you was talking about if you're too big physically, overweight.
No, I said fit for the job. Like I quite literally was like fit for the job. Like I had a conversation about this earlier. That's why I brought this up. Is that I had to go to school to be able to get the job that I'm at. They have these things called hard skills and soft skills. To be able to, the hard skills is, okay, what do I put on my resume? The soft skills is, how do people perceive you when you walk in there? Are you, you're nice? Are you personable? Do you show respect for others? Do you have respect for people's time? All of those things are soft skills, and those help you. And that's what helps you to be fit for the job and also for a relationship. Not necessarily physically
comparison, therefore. So you're saying those same skills, though.
Yeah. So it's relationships at the end of the day. That's why I made that comparison, because I think everybody can understand. It doesn't matter if you're talking about man or woman, or if you're talking about a job or whatever. A lot of these things do coincide, and you can pretty much relate it to either gender. Having good work ethic and respect for others is something that a lot of people should have.
100%. I agree.
Yeah. And so I don't think that your standards are keeping you single as long as you're, in some realism, right? So all those things that I listed would be some of my standards.
How does one know if they're not realistic?
Well, yeah, that's
what I'm saying. Black, or go ahead, BTB.
The only thing I was gonna say is that, and I guess it's a plug for a live I did a while back with a friend of mine. I had a show that was called Green Flags, and in that I outlined my top 5 as far as green flags when you're looking for a woman, and that was from my viewpoint on what those green flags were. And when it comes to that,
so your standards, green flags. Thank you. What were the green flags? Or can you
I want to list what they are and I will also say to BTB, having a standard as far as weight or something along those lines. I'm not gonna. Like when you said fit for the job, I definitely agree with, because what you don't want is someone. If we're saying that we're going to be in a relationship, this is a lifetime relationship. It's going to be you and I together for life, and we're starting off with somebody who has, I don't know, a predilection towards getting that sugar in their blood, right? I got that sugar, and then later on down the line, we're going to be in that relationship, and I know that coming down the line, you're going to be sitting there with that sugar and getting your foot chopped off, and now I got to deal with that like 5 or 10 years down the line. I'm like, that's a red flag. I don't want to deal with that coming on up. So BTB having that standard to saying that has not saying that you have to be super slim, not saying that you have to be muscular, but you have to be fit for the job. And I don't if you have a predilection, as our brother said, towards something else, that might be that's a red flag that you might want to go with. But my 5 as far as
the height, weight, and dress size is the first one.
Well, no, that's not even height weight. For me, it's not even height. But I was just saying for BTB when he's talking about the weight. I'm like, that's not.
Just saying that BTB was saying it. Okay, got
it. He said weight, but for me, my first one would be a good relationship with the father. So if I'm talking to a woman, and a green flag I'm looking for is how is her relationship with her father. If she has a good relationship with her father, then that's an indicator, a really good indicator. And again, let me start this off with this. A green flag, just like a red flag, is an indicator for either this is something where you want to pursue. Same way that a red flag is something where it's like, nah, it's not saying that you definitely have to cut it off, but it's like you need to do some more research. So a green flag, one of them being because if she has a good relationship with her father, she understands. It normally means that she has a good understanding of men. She has a respect for men. She has an appreciation for men, as opposed to a derogatory one towards men. If she doesn't have a relationship with her father.
Let me ask you this: if she didn't grow up with her dad, you're not dating her?
I didn't say that. Again, green flag versus red flag. It's a green flag. Okay. It's an indicator. So the green flag so it's not that I wouldn't, but it says that they're not. So you don't have a relationship with your father wasn't in the home or anything along those lines. That goes the opposite of the green flag, saying that, okay, there's going to be some family trauma there. There's going to be some trauma about men. There might be some trauma bonding. There's some issues that are going to be there that I need to be aware of if I'm seeing that that's not there. Right. So that's why it's a green flag, that if you see it, and it's why it's number 1 on my list as far as green flags, because not everybody does. Like you said, not everyone grew up with their father. Not everybody had a father around. And it's not that they're a bad person, but it does say that there might be some issues.
Understood. So give me some more green. Give me some more standards. Okay, go ahead.
The next one, I say this is going to rub some of my sisters the wrong way. I say the next one for me is when a woman wakes up when she walks out, I shouldn't say wakes up, but when walks up and she's talking to you, her appearance to me, as far as how much extra stuff does she have on, right? Is her hair worn? Is she comfortable with the person that she sees in the mirror? In other words, and I'm talking specifically for my sisters on, and I know I'm going to sit down. I guess I'm looking for all the smoke.
What that mean? What that mean though?
I'm talking about her hair.
Wigs and weaves? Is that what you mean?
Not at all.
Hold on, Suzette. Hold on.
And that's what I'm catching all the smoke. I know when I say this, I'm getting ready to catch that smoke.
You want natural hair, is what you're saying.
Natural hair. I don't want to see.
You have to say, is her hair worn? Wait, what is? Okay, so you're saying wearing her natural hair is what you're saying.
Yeah, her natural hair, her natural eyelashes.
So you like the pack? You like the nice fro?
It could be a nice. It could be whatever it is. How she's wearing it is going to be hers, right? And if she's comfortable, whether it's curly and I'm doing a video on this as they coming up, but whether it's curly coming, however it is, whether it's 4A, whether it's 4B.
What if we use protective stylings? You don't agree with that?
It can be a protective style. You can have a protective style, but the protective style is not a weave for me, or a protective. And this
is a protective style, Savior Black. We got the hair braided down underneath the weave.
Okay, I'm gonna put it this way, and this is a personal.
So you want the cornrows visible?
If it's cornrows, okay, and this is similar to the brother who who just left us, who has a
Harrison Family Values, yes.
Harrison Family Values. When I was divorced, I got custody of my kids. I had to learn how to do young Black girls' hair, and I had to do that for my daughter. And so protective styles, there were times when I had to when you had to do the protective styles for a young Black girl, and I always say for young Black women, specifically for our sisters, I say whether it's a weave in your head or whether or not it's you putting your hair up in cornrows and then taking it down, or whatever you're doing, it's going to take effort, it's going to take work. Because sometimes I hear, well, it's easier if putting the weave in your hair, putting in all that. And this is coming from somebody who does. I can do women's hair, and I can do little girls' hair.
So the point you're making is
the point I'm making is looking at yourself in the mirror, because it's a lot of times it's an indication. And talking about a green flag, it tells me that's somebody who has their self-esteem and their confidence in themselves. They're comfortable with what they see in the mirror. And
so what if they have an afro and then they straighten it?
I say they can. I say, for me, like I said, for a green flag, I would like to see her hair. I would like to see her nails. I would like to see.
We can't go. This has to be another show, Save Your Black. But let's go to the next green flag. What's the next one? This is another show. Give me another green flag. Because I'm
airborne. I'm a soldier, but I'm not getting into that firefight.
I said I'm not even looking at the comments right now, because I said I know the moment.
Keep going. So we done got that height, weight, dress size, and we got you got to have a natural hair exposed. But okay.
Whenever you're wearing your hair, I want to see. I want to see.
Okay, give me the next green flag. Give me the next green flag. Give me
another green flag would be like if we're going out. I look at the character of how she treats the people that when we're out, specifically the wait staff, hotel staff. I had an experience one time, and it's something that's been mirrored with a lot of other guys I've talked to. Sometimes women, when you go out, and the green flag is if they treat them kindly. You treat them nicely.
Okay, we're getting to stuff that's, for me, substantive. And again, I respect all your green flags.
Yeah.
So how she treats others, and keep going.
I say, so how you treat someone at a restaurant, how you treat somebody when you're out and about. I say, do they treat them like, oh, they're just to help? It doesn't matter. If you see that, that's not a green flag. But if they treat them in kindness and they go about it, I say, that's a green flag.
How you gonna marry a Black woman who you done took out all the wigs and weaves?
I'm gonna be honest. My ex had already had her natural hair. But I'm big on. I say it's not for everybody.
Think about how often we change our hair. Okay, I'm gonna leave it alone. Sorry. So we went to how she gonna.
We'll take it off. I'll even take it offline with you, and I'll explain why.
We don't have to do a show on it. Let's move on.
Okay, we'll do that. I said I'm coming. I'll wear my fire retardant gear when I come. My Johnny Storm on. Let's flame on when we hit that one. So we talk about the dealing with people. Another one for me is accountability. In fact, can that person say, I'm sorry? So when you guys do have a conflict, are they able to say, I'm sorry? If you're dealing with a woman and she's not able to say, I'm sorry, that's not a green flag. But if you have a woman and you're sitting there, something happens in conflict resolution, and once you got to go through and you're talking about it, if it does come up that it was something that she did, can she say I'm sorry, or does she continue to gaslight or do other things that says that that's not in that green flag? But if she's able to say I'm sorry or take accountability, that's a green flag.
I've heard several men say they married a woman that the first time they ever heard a woman say she was sorry. I know a couple brothers who told me that. Now I'm sure they had other green flags, but they mentioned that specifically.
Yeah.
Any more?
There's two others, but I'm gonna say.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Quickly. Go ahead. I'm gonna get the other people involved. Go ahead.
I'm gonna let everybody. Let me. I'm gonna hold off on the other two. I'm gonna save one for that red pill. So I'll bring it on for Saturday.
What are your standards like, BTB? What are some of your?
I like
my standards. Yeah. So just simple things like some of my standards is, can we even relate to each other? Can we have a good conversation with each other? That's another thing, because I'm like, man, you might do something with, you in a relationship, you're going to be doing some stuff, right? But afterwards, can we actually have a good conversation with each other? And when I get into the car, are you like happy to see me? That's another expectation or standard that I have. Like, are you excited to be around me, be with me?
Right.
Another thing, just having a good work ethic, being truthful and trustworthy, because without trust, what is the whole relationship? You can't even be in the relationship with somebody you can't trust, because you're gonna be looking over your shoulder every single time. I saw this TikTok that said, oh man, I looked through your phone while you were asleep. I saw you try to swallow your phone. It came up, and I went through it. It's all there. You know, I don't know if you guys saw that one, but you know, you want to be able to trust somebody. So I don't want to have to do all those things, and nor would I want to.
Okay.
And you know, another standard is you know, do you actually have a career that you're trying to grow, and in addition to that, a hobby, right? You know, like after you finish with work and stuff like that, do you have something that you're interested in outside of just, you know, oh, I went to work and nothing happened, and okay, you know, go home and complain about work, and then that's it. You know what I mean?
What are your other interests? You're very interested in women. They said, Savior Black, you controlling, taking your woman wig away.
Like I said, when I said it, I was like, that's why I initially started off. Yeah, I was like, oh, let me just send them over there. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna take all the smoke. I'm coming in.
It's all good. We're gonna come back to that. We have to come back to that. BTB, you shared. I want Bernard back in the game, please. Bernard, what are some of your standards, or would you recommend for women? Because if their standards are too, I wouldn't even call it high, or should be movable, let's say.
That can get real iffy there because.
Okay, for your daughter, how would you tell her to choose? What would you say her standard should include?
Well, I always tell my daughter to be herself first. I said, because I'm not going to live through you.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell my son the same thing. But with my daughter, I said, you always want to keep your femininity in check. Because she played a lot of sports. Well, she played a lot of sports. So soccer, she ran track for college. She played basketball. She gets her master's tomorrow. I'm going to go see her graduate for that. And so I know how she
Congratulations.
can. Yeah, thanks. And then she's gonna go for the doctorate. So then going back to what Savior Black, I've really never dated women who didn't do what he was talking about. Like my wife, when I met her, there was no makeup. I was like, okay, that's what I'm waking up to. Now, you know, and now she has brought up the wigs, and I'd be like, I'm like Incredible Hulk pushing back, but I'm like, here's the reason. Because
you don't like wigs either.
I like her natural hair because she has it.
Okay.
She has it. And a lot of women don't have it. So I'm like, enjoy it. And I say that also not carefully, but truthfully, because I've seen a lot of beautiful women with bald heads, and we all know why. For certain
we're not
reasons,
saying that
right?
it's only one way to be beautiful. Yeah,
right. And that's definitely when I totally understand when a woman gets a wig or something or whatever. She wants to feel still like a woman. But with the standards, I must say this to everybody, and Kosher Commission can come back in behind me and any of you other guys. You know your standards, and you have to stick with your standards, because at the end of the day, none of us is going to wake up with that person. You are.
Right.
That's real.
That's just what it is.
I agree with that.
And you know what I'm saying? You're going to wake up with that person. And going back to what he was talking about with the sugar, yeah, you're right, because my own grandmother could not go to her own my own grandfather's funeral because they both got their legs amputated at the same time. How about them facts?
Wow.
Yeah, look at me in the mirror. Look at me in the camera. How about them facts?
Yeah.
You have to be disciplined. So now you don't want to. So I'm gonna end it like this. I always ask my wife, and I ask people this: is it cool that you know, say Kosher Clinician or even me or somebody else married? Oh, they some good dudes. They some good dudes because they take care of their wives. Or let's flip it: they take care of their husbands. But I was eating like I lost my mind, and now I'm sick, and then we can't go travel. And then we can't do things in our latter years because I didn't take care of myself. Right. And now I expect you not to look at another man, and I can't do things that I used to because of the things I've done to myself. Wow. People have to think about that when you get married. You can't be selfish and just talking about, oh, I'm going to eat this and eat that. No, because when you hit that 40 mark, stuff start hurting that I ain't even know started hurting. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
so we have to think about the future.
You love yourself to
right. And I know Kosher Clinician, with him doing the therapy he does, he's seen that, and it's hard for him to probably say, well, I can understand if you have an affair, but people don't talk about that. That's what's going to make my show real hard for people to watch, because I'm going to talk about that. I'm like, What did you do? Were you being selfish to say I had to have that tasty cake or some Fritos? And you're not 20 anymore. It doesn't go out of our body like that.
Right.
Your metabolism slows down, people, and you can't be selfish to your spouse.
Right. I agree with that. I actually
you have to. Yeah, go ahead, brother.
I agree with that. And Suzette, I'm gonna pile off in a minute. But I just did a show last week. We were talking about the importance of health, wealth, and sadly the posthumous death of Kevin Samuels. We were talking about the YouTube grind and also how not having the proper trace minerals in your diet and the lack of water, especially alkaline water, can be a detriment to the psyche of men. So, and the health of men. So I agree with the brother, you definitely must begin to take care of your health as we get closer to our 40s and 50s and make sure that you're around. That was a great
show, by the way, Kosher.
Okay, cool. Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it with the
Yes,
health.
it was. Great show, brother.
That was a great show.
I appreciate it, man.
So just thinking about health and lifestyle in terms of your eating and your exercise and your physical, physicality.
Physicality, right.
It's not a actual what should I say, subjective or even superficial in a sense, because people are thinking about caretaking. People are thinking about childbearing. People are.
And what happened for me, for everybody, is skip my son, skip my daughter, and skip my brother. But as for me, my gout got worse, so I had to go vegan. I had to go vegan because I even have a list of like 3 pages of what each vegetable and everything, how much acid it has. That's how deep I got into it. It's not my wife's job to be taking care of me. I got to take care of myself.
Wow.
It's not her job. So back to what my brother was saying, I drink a half a gallon to a gallon of spring water every day.
Every day, right.
Mm-hmm. And exercise is the best medicine there is besides eating.
Right.
So physical fitness and physical health is a bigger standard, it sounds like. That folks are not necessarily hearing people say out loud, but it sounds like the men, at least here, representing here, are, aware and use that. I'm just trying to answer the Miss Creative. What were some of the standards? So definitely good relationship with the fathers.
It was good relationship with the father. It was comfortable.
BTB had a good amount. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
It was good relationship with the father. Good, as a comfortable with your own appearance. There was, how did she treat the people as far as wait staff or whatever? Because you're looking at characteristics. For the BTB one, and I was joking about it when I said it. I was serious, but I did it in a joking manner. But the health aspect, as far as weight, it's not so much needs to be a slim model or whatever, but you don't want somebody who is obesely overweight who's gonna have health problems later. And that's what you're looking at.
It's true, and not everybody who's skinny, and I see that point.
It's not about it's not about being skinny. It's about being healthy. So if you're like they talk about big bone, there's a difference between being big bone and somebody who's like a Twinkie away from like being obese, right? So there's
they told me I'm not big boned. It's big. It's big.
You need Kirk over here. We need Kirk Anderson.
I don't know nothing about that.
Les Brown put it. Les Brown always said, he said, everybody talking about their big bone. He said, but when they die, he said the bones are the same size.
Well, I don't know how to explain that part, but I know right now that I'm big bone. But yeah, real talk, guys. This is really interesting. Pretty awesome. JM says, I took care of my bedridden grandma until she passed. I'm on a mission now to be healthy until the end of my life. I hear you. Obesity is real. So get me back into some of the characteristics in terms of character, honestly. If we are looking at that, so is it physical first? BTB said he liked that intellectual. He liked someone I like BTB. You really like intellectual though. I think that's like very telling of your type, right?
It's the glasses.
But your line of work and that can align somewhat with the preferences that you've expressed. DL, you've been mighty quiet.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm waiting for mortar rounds to impact after what Brother Black said. I'm like, oh my goodness, need to dig me a foxhole. Where's my Kevlar? No, but you know what?
Okay, BTV, thanks for coming up. Appreciate you, brother. Always welcome. Have a great night. Thanks so much, always, for adding to the convo. Yeah. Take care, darling. Thank you. Go ahead,
Brother Black's on point with a lot of what he's saying, and we all understand that. You know what I mean? And it's really hard to have this part of the conversation because now we're getting into what we want as individuals. But and that's always gonna be a different kind of thing. But I will say this, like what Brother BTB was saying, Going back to standards and stuff like that. So if I'm gonna paint a picture of a guy who lives in his mom's house, who's either unemployed or underemployed, who is overweight, they say he's short, he's overweight, he has bad hygiene, he plays video games all day, and that guy says, well, my standard is I want a baddie who's making X and doing this and da 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 da. They list all these things. Society has no problem. Like, nah, bro, you're a loser. Shut up. You out your mind. You know what I mean? So, and we're kind of talking about that now. If we flip that scenario around, and we're talking about a woman who is like Kevin, brother Kevin Samuel said, rest in peace. She's average at best, but she wants what she wants. Right? It is like you're trying to get people to say, hey, maybe you want to really take a close look at who you are, and maybe you want to take a look at this list, and you want to make some changes on that list. But my own cousin told me, he's like, bro, if I told you that you have to do this, these are the only type women you can talk to, he was like, man, you wouldn't take that. You would push all kind of ways back. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. So it becomes an individual thing. But yeah, I'm just listening to this thing. Like, we understand one.
You still ain't gave me no standards, but let me let Kosher gotta go.
On that lamp.
Some standards. Kosher, your final words. I know you gotta drop off, sir. Thank you so much for coming by. I know you're super busy with everything you're doing on your channel. Yeah. And y'all go subscribe to Kosher Clinician. But go ahead, final thoughts.
No doubt there. I think as we evolve and as we grow, we put things in its proper importance. I think some things are negotiables, but there are some things that are non-negotiables. And, I like what Bernard S. said, it's not incumbent upon me to tell a man what his standards are. Even at my age now, there are some things I will not compromise on. I just don't, because I'm just hardwired that way. Like, some women are hardwired for height. Yeah. They could be sabotaging their behavior. sabotaging their future. But if that's what they want, take a risk. But the probability of them getting someone tall is slim to none. I'm 6'5", 6'6".
I can tell.
14% of the population in America is over 6 feet. That's
only 14%. Only
14%, right? And so I'm 6'5", 6'6", but it's not that many behemoths like myself. And
I'm in the crew. I'm 6 feet. I just want to get that out there.
Right. And 6 feet is actually above average height. 6 feet is actually a tall person. But people don't consider that. So like I said, there are some things that are negotiables. But we just got to ask ourselves the question, are those negotiables based on concrete long-term goals that are measurable, or is it based on superficiality, something that's fleeting and does not more or less benefit the greater collective as it relates to that person or also society? So I end that note. But anyway, Suzette, thank you, dear.
Thank you. Y'all check him out. Kosher got to go. Kosher got to work. All kinds of stuff. Show prep. Thank you for being here tonight, Kosher. Appreciate you passing through. Have a great night.
All right. Thank you,
brother.
Bye now.
No doubt.
Suzette, to answer your question, is fit, friendly, and friendly. Fit, feminine, and friendly. Those are the three things that I'm looking for.
So you back to the KS model. Fit,
feminine.
Yeah. It sounds easy.
You have to say you can see, brother. There's a lot of people that
sounds easy.
Those boxes.
That sounds easy,
and they got back character.
But it's still a lot of women that can't even do the 2 out of the 3.
But it's women
it sounds
that do
easy.
That. Y'all hear me?
Let's say that again.
Women that are fit and friendly, and they're not good character people.
Then they're not feminine, right? They're fit and they're friendly, but they're not feminine.
They are feminine. They pretend.
Well, okay,
that's pretending.
So whose definition of feminine are we going by at that point?
What do you mean by feminine?
Going back to
who's not afraid to be a woman.
If
you're asking me, a woman who's not afraid to be a woman in the sense that, you know what, I can cook. I can cook. I can clean, right? I can sit there and be beautiful and be strong in my silence. I don't have to jump in. I don't have to lead, right? And a feminine woman would never embarrass you. Jada Pinkett, she's fit, right? She's fit. She might be friendly, but she ain't feminine. Look what she did to her man. So this is what I'm talking about, and it takes a lot of strength to do that. It takes a lot, and that's why it's so hard to fit those 3 criteria.
Ooh, that I'm trying to wind down, and we got a whole can of worms on that.
That's why I said this, Suzette, because I knew what you were talking about when you said feminine. I knew what
Yeah, y'all need to remove fit with financially responsible. That's what you really need.
I'm not worried about their money. I don't care how much money she makes. I'm not worried about. I'm gonna take care of that on my end. I just need you not. Here's the thing: when people talk about money, and I'll be brief because I know you're ready to wind down.
No, go ahead.
If you walk into a room of wealthy men, everybody in there is a billionaire. So at that point, they're all even. Money means nothing, right? They're all 6 feet or over. So that means nothing. They're all in shape. So that means nothing. What is the thing that those men want? What is the thing that those men value more than anything? Is the guy who has that beautiful, fit, friendly woman that is making him appear to be, and he is the king because he has this woman who is there and he didn't pay for it. She's there with him because she loves him. She loves, admires, and respects him. And all those other billionaires in the room are invisible to her. That's what a guy wants. When you take away everything else, I have, like they say, people throw that word around queen all the time. I rarely say it. My buddy Jay Swans, who's in the chat tonight, shout out to you, brother. I call his wife a queen. I saw what she did with him. They had less than nothing, and now they have an empire. I watched them build that together. She is a queen, and guess what? She has never embarrassed him, ever. She cooks all the time. She cleans all the time. She's brilliant. She makes her own money, but she never steps on his toes as a man. She respects, admires, and loves this man through whatever. And that is so hard to find. I'm in the trenches. If my brother Jay Swans ever said he wanted to be single again, I will go kick him in the head. Like, you don't want to be in these trenches. I'm sick of being in these trenches. I'm looking at you, brother. You made the right choice. They're not even 50 years old, and they've been together for well over 27 years. Going strong, raised 2 brilliant men, 2 black men. So Team Swanson is what's up, and that's him right there, Airborne. We're both paratroopers. We served in the same unit. I see you, boy, Airborne.
Awesome. Oh, that's so good, busy over
here.
Thank
y'all for serving, brother.
Oh, man.
But that's what I'm looking for. And
this is where I was coming from. The Miss Creative captured some of my sentiment. All right, fellas, y'all be so focused on a woman being feminine. If that lady is always quote feminine, she may be a transformer. Transformers transform. Yeah, interesting. If she's been welcome says if you like water, you'll be ending up broke. So financial, he said he would put instead of fit.
But isn't that all part of the vetting process? That's part of the vetting process. Yes. It all shall come to light. It will come to if you pay attention, right? What's the religious term? All that happens in the dark shall come to light, or something like that.
Sure. Yep. What happens in the dark, absolutely. So let's get some final thoughts. I don't know if we can leave with some encouragement. I don't know if we can leave with some optimism. I don't know if we can leave with some actual advice.
I'll go first.
I don't know which of the above we can do here with the gentleman we got working. Thank you again, Savior Blackdale Saint Bernard S. For kind of bringing in the rear as we finish the conversation. Hit the like button, y'all. We are, I think, making progress in a way because I think sometimes hearing, especially a male's perspective, for women can be very helpful. And I think sometimes we're not always allowed to, uninterruptedly listen to what men have to say. And whether we agree or disagree, there is some value in that. And I think sometimes we got to really listen to, what is it that they're prioritizing and why? So I think that's important. But there are still lots of comments coming in. We're going to wrap up here, guys, in just a couple minutes. But we're almost 5 more likes to 100. Thank you. Please hit the like button.
People hit them likes. Hit them likes.
There's a lot of folks that are.
Let me see if I can.
Yeah, I think that, do I keep my standards? Do I bend my standards? Do I only date at my standard or what I think is my standard? Or should I give people below my standard a chance? I don't know. There's so many people, I think, sometimes missing the boat. That's why this conversation came up in the first place, because they're either standards are just unrealistic. The word too high might sound offensive, but I think unrealistic might be much more accurate. And they're not connecting the dots with their outcomes. Let's see. And So what do we say? How do we make sure we're living in the real world, or the standards we're holding? Because I've heard women, I'm like, I mean, that's what I'm gonna talk about when Red Pill Saturday. And I love the fact that most of the ladies are like, Red Pill sounds like a cult. Red Pill sounds weird. I'm not a Red Pill expert. However, the realities of life, when I hear some women talking like they are in a dream world, and the opportunities that they have, they're not aware of how they're shrinking, or going to be at least much more difficult as life progresses, as they mature, as dating is evolving. And I don't think there's enough being said out loud. And we're going to say some of it here, like it or not, agree or disagree. So what can we leave people with when it comes to the standards conversation? Who wants to go first? And DL?
Yeah, I'll go first, and then I'll as a paratrooper
Okay.
I'll jump out, because that's what we do. So here's the thing, all is not lost. I'm not saying these things to be like it's a wrap, all is lost. You know what I mean? Whatever. You have to ask yourself some serious questions out there, people. Ask yourself some serious questions. I mean, it's going to be like a military background here. What's your mission? Is your mission to just bag as many dudes or bag as many women as you can? If that's your mission, move accordingly. Is your mission to just have a wedding? If that's your mission, move accordingly. Or is it your mission to find a person that's going to be with you to the end? Right? And if that's your mission, move accordingly. Listen to the intel. What's that? Listen to those people you trust, your allies, your closest associates. When you bring somebody around, listen to what they have to say about that person. I'll share a quick story with y'all. It was like in 1939. Germany was attacking France and the rest in Great Britain. Germany was stuck in the largest traffic jam at that time in the history of the world. The entire German army was stuck on this road to the Ardennes Forest. The French generals got intel from his own observer planes that said, hey, the German army is on this road right here, right now. They can't move. They're stuck. The entire army. The general didn't listen. He didn't listen. World War II never would have been fought had they listened to that intel, sent some bombers over there. Germany would have been destroyed. Listen to the intel. And like I said earlier, know yourself. And I'm not going to say know yourself, know your enemy, but know yourself, know your potential mate. Know yourself. Truly know yourself. If you know yourself, at least you got half a shot at getting there. You know what I mean? Know yourself, know your potential mate. If you truly know that other person and you know yourself, y'all can't not fail, right? But if you don't know yourself and you don't know your potential mate, you're going to sit right here where we are right now, dealing with what you're dealing with right now. That's how I look at it. So there's absolutely hope for all of us, but we're going to have to be realistic. You're going to have to understand the situation on the ground. You're going to have to listen to that intel that comes to you from the people that you trust. And more importantly, you're going to have to know who you are. So I hope someone out there needed to hear that. You know what I'm saying?
Where's the wisdom? Where's the wisdom? I love the story. Thank you, DL.
You're so welcome.
Coming through.
Thanks for having me.
I know you wouldn't miss no Red Pill Saturday, so if you're available, I'll see you.
You know I'm gonna be here.
I knew it already. Thank you so much for coming up tonight. Appreciate your contribution to the conversation and always your generosity. Thank you so much. I appreciate
always
you.
a pleasure. And brothers, it was an honor today being there with you, brother Black. Man, I'll have my Kevlar on. I'm gonna be on that show when y'all talk about that hair.
Black,
I'm gonna be there.
Everybody to take their hair out.
I'm gonna be there.
I'm telling you. Okay, y'all gonna sit there mix chat? No, we're gonna mess around. But
let me acknowledge before you go, and then I'll let Bernard have the final word. The Seattle Black veteran, thank you so much for coming through, listening in, and obviously making a contribution to the content. If you like the content, thank you for your support, sir. No comment, just love. Appreciate you always coming by, sir. I know I don't always get to see your content, but you always support me. So it really, really means a lot. Thank you, the Seattle Black veteran. So your final thoughts. Go ahead, save your black.
My final thoughts is that I'm going to need to make, like you said, I'm going to have to wear that Kevlar because I stepped on that landmine today as they talking about black women's hair. That is a very sensitive, very touchy subject, but it's something I think that it also goes towards a characteristic when you're looking at someone on whether or not that they feel comfortable in their own skin. And that's one of the reasons why I like to.
All right, come off of that. No, next point. Good point.
Let me give you the just closing thoughts. 2 points. One is that in looking at whether or not your standards are good, I think before you're even getting to the whether or not you should lower your standards or not, I think that piggybacking pretty much on what DL said is that you should identify why it is you want to get married. If you're actually interested in getting married, why do you want to get married? Why do you want to be involved in the institution of marriage? I think that there's some very valid reasons on why you should be, and I think that there's some invalid reasons on why you should. That would disqualify you, and I think that you should not be. But identifying why you want to be, why you would like to be married, and in addition to why you would like to get married, I think that you need to identify what are your standards or values that you're looking for at that point, or not looking for, that you have at that point, and what you are also looking for. So more important than just what you're going to get from the other person, what are you bringing to that institution? What are you bringing to that relationship? If you have decided that, yes, you want to get married and why you want to get married, and you've identified that, then what is it that you're going to bring, as well as what you're looking for somebody else? So once you identify those things, now you can say that you can look at it from that perspective to see, are your standards good? What are your what I like to call your non-negotiables, or what are your deal breakers? And make sure that which are going to be very small, or should be very small. You can have a whole list of 20, 30 things that you're looking for, but the deal breakers should probably be about 2 or 3 that you're looking at. These are things that are non-negotiables, deal breakers for me. Once you've identified what those are, you can have the other stuff as a wish list. As in old project management terms, I used to be an IT project manager. You have the must-haves, the should-haves, and then the nice-to-haves. So once you identify those must-haves, the other parts has you just make sure that you understand that those are not required.
I like it because I'm like, this is very methodical, but I see where you're drawing from in terms of your experience. But yeah, core of what you're saying is find your why. Whys.
I guess.
Why do I want to be married? Why
and
would I marry that person? And why should they marry me? I hear you. Appreciate you, Saving Black.
Have a good one. Be blessed.
See you hopefully Saturday. Y'all check out the channel. Savior Black in the building, bringing some heat tonight.
Sorry, I'll call the fire department for that smoke that's over there.
Where he going with this? But anyway, you're always a joy. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Go back and watch our show we did. Is Roe v. Wade go over? It was really good, y'all. So appreciate you coming up tonight, sir. Have a great night, and I hope to see you again soon. Okay.
All right.
Sorry. What you say? Sorry.
I was saying bye. Bye.
Okay, bye now. See you soon. They know I'm notorious, Bernard, for just dropping it down before the last. I do want to acknowledge, because my voice has lasted tonight. Thank you, Lord. But I didn't want to push it. So Sandy B. Law on the super chat, my sister-in-law. Thank you. Appreciate her. Go check out her channel. We did a Tuesday. I did an interview over there on Learn Biz, no spaces, Learn Biz, together, one word, the podcast. They talked about, or they do interviews for entrepreneurs, and mostly, I think I've seen only Black entrepreneurs, and them telling their stories, 30 minutes, 20. Well, mine might have been 45 or so, but 20-minute shows with a lot of good, potent information for those of you interested in business. So I always thank you, Sandy B. Law. She did a fantastic job. Also on the Kevin Samuels show, what happens to his digital assets. She's a probate attorney. She's seen the guardianship program or process, I should say, guardianship, or it's getting late, but you know what I'm saying. She practices law when it comes to transferal of assets. So I am grateful that you participate and always participate in the chat and showing some love tonight. I really, really do appreciate it, Sandy B. Law, for showing love on the super chat. All right. So Bernard, you're going to round us up tonight. I'm sure.
I'm sorry about that train.
I was like, am I hearing stuff? It's all good.
No, it's a train.
Appreciate you coming up.
And
go
crazy right now.
Bernard started a channel That part. Go ahead and say it real quick. Give a same. I know your train is passing in your background, of course. Shameless plug. Y'all, there's a super chat if you want to support the content. Thank you so very much. Who sent me someone sent me a Cash App. Let me look while you get ready to make your final comments. But thank y'all.
Yeah, I wanted to say to Sandy B. I don't know if she's been seeing it or you or anybody else, but somebody is still posting from like Kevin's actual thing.
From
I don't know if when I see it, it's his face, and so
from his channel.
Yeah, because he might have administrative right. I don't know, but
somebody might have that. Yeah,
you might want to get her to check into that because that'll be a whole nother show.
Wow, Roz B, thank you for the Cash App, sis. Appreciate it. Wow, hit the like button, y'all, as we wrap. Interesting. Yeah. So okay, so they still making money. YouTube still got it up. I saw that. So it's very interesting. But what are your final thoughts on the dating standards question? Are your dating standards keeping you single? What would be your final thoughts, Bernard?
Well, first I'm gonna say publicly that's where me and you gonna go, and I think we're gonna keep it off of Patreon. We should stay here with this type of conversation because it keeps coming up and it's like the number one hit every time. But what I would say to everybody first, I asked my wife this one time, and she said that's deep. I said, well, was everybody in the Bible married? And she looked at me. And I said, think about what I'm saying and what I'm asking, because nothing would probably never work if you wasn't supposed to be in the first place, because everybody have their place, right? So you deal with that first, so that most women are praying women anyway, most that I know of. And some men got to ask themselves that too. You can't just put everything on the women. Now, when you get back to the standards, I don't think nobody should settle. Nobody should settle because you're going to regret it later. And once again, you end up seeing the lead attorney or Suzette at the end because you settled. I don't think nobody should settle. Now, if you if you think that person is just missing one of your things out of your list and you talk to that individual about it, yes, you go for that. But that individual shouldn't lie to that individual, or that individual should not lie to you about that one thing that you think is missing that you're willing to settle for out of your checklist. So I don't think anybody should settle because you end up living miserably. That's me. And I think that at the end of the day, you don't want to do that because it adds on more stress. And you're going back to Brian McKnight's song, shoulda, coulda, woulda. You don't want to do that. You want to live. A lot of people, I think the problem is, to sum this up, a lot of us, men and women, are men on one side, but women on another. You're looking for that love song that you always like and think you can live it. It's kind of hard to do because in that love song, you're only talking about a moment outside of life itself. So we have to think outside of that. Okay. And I said this on your show before. You got to get out of the Disney fairy tale thing. They just show you somebody kissing the princess and waking her up. Well, what happened after that? This is what we got to think about. And this is why I think me and you can kind of collaborate on that and talk about the other stuff and stop getting caught up in the fluff. Because I'll end it like this. Women been playing with Barbie and Ken since they were like 5. Y'all started reading love novels and stuff and certain things. Boo Boo right here saying I do, and we've been working on bikes, skateboarding, and video games, and we have not read a literature about love. Y'all got to think about that too. So that's the problem. That's the disconnect.
Different concepts.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
So you have to talk about, hey, brother, how you think, how you feel. Same with the sister, because it could have been opposite for her. So do you and what's best for you. Because if you don't, it will hurt you later. And that's my thing on that.
Wow. So he's saying, don't you dare settle. No. Shout out to Matt B Tech on the Cash App, showing some love on the stream tonight. Thank you. I think DL will end up being the sponsor, but Bernard leaving you with various perspectives, because people have said do this, do that, don't. But you take what you need, because I do think there's so much value in also setting a standard for sure. Now, again, rigidity, stage of life, practicality, and making sure that it's realistic for you and what you say you need, and asking yourself, why do you need it? I think is a lot of the takeaways for tonight. Bernard, I always enjoy.
Actually,
yes, go ahead.
Actually, that's what I want to do. I'll probably name it right here.
Go ahead.
I want to do it with you because you're a lawyer. I think we should call our collaboration the power of a word. The reason why I say that because lawyers understand how one or two words can change a whole contract.
Oh, absolutely.
Deep right into that, into relationships and stuff.
Well, let's continue to brainstorm. Bernard will definitely be either on my channel or on my Patreon with either one next month. Yeah. Can't wait to have you on. Always bringing such value. Y'all check out his channel. Make sure you drop your channel in the chat so people can go support. He started it, y'all, so we got to support. And
she looked out. She had my back, y'all.
Exactly. No, I'm excited for you. Really am, because I really know you bring a lot of wisdom, and we need it. So appreciate you. Thank you for coming up. Good night. Headed out. Thank you so much. And I appreciate everyone coming in, helping the conversation flow tonight. There were a lot of good. I can't even think about revelations. I just saw someone comment. I'm going to read this as the last comment. Hit the like button, y'all, as y'all get ready to head home. Thank you for rocking with me. I've been feeling a lot better. Thank you for everybody who's been asking me. And yes, Saturday 12. It'll be my first Red Pill experience. Yay. Open chat, Patreon. What's up? We'll see you probably next week. Thank you so much to everybody. My two new patrons joined. Thank you. And I was going to read this comment I saw. Let me see what the survey results were. Shout out to my new subs. Shout out to all my new subs. Everyone who is brand new. If you're watching and you haven't subbed yet, do yourself a favor and hit the subscribe. Don't ninja watch, sub. And again, thank you, Matt B Tech, for the Cash App. Appreciate the support. Appreciate you helping me build. So far in the community tab, still majority of y'all say you gotta lower, or we could say adjust standards, because good people come in unexpected packages. I keep saying packages. And on our survey, 53% say yes, you should lower your standards. 47 say no. So it's almost a 50-50 split. It's kind of interesting to see that. So final comment. I just saw someone leave an interesting comment. Thank you for leaving a comment after the video, guys. It helps with the algorithm. The Dojo of Manhood. You get the final word tonight. Hit the like button, y'all. Dojo of Manhood just left a comment. Let me like it. Right below the survey on my community tab on YouTube. If you're not a subscriber, if you're watching on Facebook, hey, go over to YouTube. Or if you're kind of ghost watching, please hit the subscribe button. Thank you. Dojo of Manhood says, I hate the phrase lowering standards. I see it as, quote, ready? His words, adjusting your price. If it is a standard, then one would have to be willing to die completely alone if they do not receive it. Are you ready to adjust your price just yet or no? Food for thought, food for the soul. That's what we do here. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. Shout out again to Harrison Family Values. He did a magnificent job helping us out tonight. Just uncover more about what is it we're doing possibly not so right. Yay. 1999 on the super, Miss Linda. Thank you. Never discussed. Interesting. So I wonder if you mean something that you said earlier. Let me go up in the chat, or if you've never seen a discussion like this before. But I appreciate you. Appreciate you support, all y'all support. Thank you for everyone helping me build by liking, commenting, sharing, or your generosity. Thank you very much. Appreciate this. Miss Linda, sharing your ideas with me. However you support, I'm grateful. Thank you, all my speakers, all my subs. Thank you very much. We are growing. And again, I'm looking forward to our next 2 shows. Again, I don't know if I'll be live Monday, but Saturday for sure. Don't miss it, 12 noon. My first red pill experience. When did you first become aware of what is known as? You guys may not even have heard that. You've heard me say it a few times, but the vernacular used on YouTube, red pill. So I'm going to talk about that, and I'm going to ask you to talk about that. If you are part of that community, if you understand what the meaning of it is, how it has impacted your life. And then Tuesday, don't miss Tuesday at 7. I don't even have the thumbnail up yet, but I'm gonna put it up soon. DL Saint comes to discuss the truth about hypergamy. If you don't know what hypergamy is, if you never studied it, I've not really studied it. So I'm excited about him coming to share some of his knowledge. And I just appreciate all of you. Thank you again, Linda, for coming through on the final super chat. I appreciate that. Somebody need a talent agent. Oh, you never know. God is amazing. There's so many things cooking back here, especially against also. Thank you again, Harrison. Thank you, Facts and the Uncomfortable Truth with Bernardus. Go check him out, y'all. Got a new show going on over there. And shout out to Andrew. I know you didn't get a chance to come up, but big up Andrew. But I don't. You need to be in a light lit background, sir, so we can see you. Yes, this is what I want. So I don't know what will make. If y'all want to email me, or maybe what subject matter ladies would like to speak on. I'd like to open up some panels to like a ladies chat and see what the ladies got to say too. But I'm open to whatever. If you want to email me, guys, let me know. But welcome to the new speakers. It's been real. Hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Don't forget, before you leave, hit the like button, and I'll see you guys Saturday at 12. And for real Tuesday, the truth about hypergamy with DL Saint. Mark your calendars. I will put up the thumbnail probably tomorrow. All right. Great show. Thank you guys again for watching. Have a great night. Be well. Take care of yourselves.